Wrathion, how did you know that I had begun to hear N'Zoth's whispers?
One of my agents was watching over you. I knew that if you left the protection of High Mountain, you would become vulnerable.
I did not realize you had such personal concern for my well-being.
Of course. You are my brother, the only one I have.
Welcome back, everyone, to part 2 of our little 10.1 shenanigans here. And we're getting on with the story. Excuse me, person on the blue drake. We're having an intro here. So a little wave to everyone. Hey, everyone. And we can see we've come back and they've fixed Wrathion's height.
I know, he's the normal height now. He's like a little bit smaller than Sibelian.
Yeah, rather than towering over him by almost 2 heads. Anyway, so all the black dragons here are all getting up to shenanigans. And we have Obsidian for our starter quest here.
The quest title is Here We Go Again.
Can certainly say that again.
This was the line I was talking about last week. Before I left Zeralek Cavern, I made contact with the soldiers stationed by Neltharion at the Obsidian Rest. Luckily for us, they remain loyal to the Black Dragonflight. So they never did clarify that Wrathion found Aberrus or not. This seems to imply that Obsidian was there, or that maybe there was a time skip or something while they were healing and recovering and stuff like that. I don't know. Okay, whatever. Obsidian's making friends already.
One week real time.
1 week real time. We'll go with that.
Just a quick note, the last chapter still isn't out. Blizzard certainly isn't treating this like tearing a band-aid off. They're letting it really drag out. It does make Wrathion's part in the last chapters even more redundant. And not only did it kind of feel that Wrathion's part alongside his brothers was greatly reduced, but it kind of felt like it didn't sum up to anything. I do have a very strong inkling that each one of these chapters was written by a different person, or at least the main narrative writing was written by a different person. Dialogue and other choices and things like that may have been written by different people on the team, working alongside the main person who's working for each one of these chapters. There's certainly a difference between each chapter. From the first 2 chapters, which I personally think are just not good, to the 3rd chapter, which I think is very decent. I'd even say with Sibelian and Obsidian, though, I think they're a bit better written in 3 as well. At least Sibelian calls Obsidian out when he's being preachy in a couple of moments. People have very much noticed how Obsidian is almost becoming very preachy, a bit, you guys don't know what you're doing, I've done all this before. All of a sudden has Wrathion specialities, and things that Wrathion himself was the best at have now been shifted over to Obsidian. Obsidian hasn't been called out that he really hasn't done anything for 10,000 years. He certainly helped out the Tauren. That's good. The Tauren have certainly benefited from Obsidian's. Also, these whelps are absolutely destroying me. I'm being bullied by 3 whelps.
I was hoping they would set fire to Obsidian, Wrathion, or Sibelian, but doesn't seem to be happening yet.
Well, can fire harm a dragon? They can be blasted all day by these whelps and not feel a thing. The last time we played these chapters, back in the PTR, these ones are probably less egregious in their writing, I think, simply because Wrathion, while he's in these chapters, his role again is reduced compared to both Sibelian and Obsidian's. Now, as an experience of the whole writing here, I think it isn't the most enjoyable because you can see the disservice that the characters are receiving from the writing, and I think the imbalance in the writing makes for it not to be an enjoyable experience because you're constantly being pulled out of things that you're enjoying in the writing. You have really disruptive moments within the narrative itself. But these ones coming up are a little bit less so. I'd say the next chapters coming up aren't particularly character focused. They don't have very many character moments. I think it's more moving the plot along. It's just like, okay, we need to get to Aberrus. And that's fine. That's, I do wish for it being the main scenario quest, there'd be more meat to it, essentially, because as I joked last time, narrative oxygen can only really be effective when there is a decent amount of tinder to work with. If the tinder is lacking, we're not going to have any fire. You may have a lot of oxygen still, allowing people to breathe, but you're never going to have anything heating heat up or be exciting. Anyway, that's my little preamble leading into this here. Let's see your impression of the cutscenes when we get to all the shenanigans and stuff. So I think there are just a couple, so not too many. Well, there's a cutscene in the raid.
Oh, right, the raid.
Yeah, this one I did slightly spoil you on, just slightly, just because it's
You
very,
only
very
spoiled me to
surprising.
tell me that nothing seriously
Garrett
plot.
dies. Like, what? Really? Mid-expansion end boss and he dies?
No way. I could not see that coming from a mile away.
Fucked up if true, honestly. It's just basically Sarika doing an extended I am dying sort of monologue with a slight hint of things to come, a little inkling. Yeah, so do you want to get into it? Want to get these drag lads moving?
Yeah, let's do it.
While I fight these bazillion black whelplings here blasting me continuously.
Easy, Sibelian.
Tickling
You
them,
may
tickling
heal
them.
quickly, but the injury you sustained was rather significant.
I will be fine.
I really like this little exchange between Wrathion and Sibelian where he inquires after Sibelian's health and Sibelian's just like, I'll be fine. I really love that. I just clinging to these little tiny moments that we get for Wrathion where he is showing compassion and maturity, I guess.
The maturity that you had in BFA
Yeah,
5 years ago.
exactly.
Yeah, just having that more in tune with that. It's okay to have Wrathion act selfishly or arrogantly or anything along those lines. Really bring out his bad traits. But we need a reason behind it. We do need reasoning. Also, do you want to turn around? Do you want to talk to Calico?
Oh, thank you for reminding me. Yeah, every time we played this on the PTR, I would always forget that Calicos has like a little portal free.
Yes.
Every single time. Okay.
You go down without your dragon. I'll go down on my dragon, and I wonder if the bug is still there.
Okay, we'll do a test.
Promise the accuracy of this teleportation spell, as teleporting to underground locations can be challenging.
And
Good luck, champion.
so teleporting to underground locations can be challenging, but they certainly set up an easy portal in Trial of the Crusader, down when we fell down to a Nubrak.
Oh,
Raised his
really?
eyebrow. Raised his eyebrow? And yes, the bug is still there. If you go down on your Drake, you won't fall and Caligos doesn't catch you. You just sort of hover here on your Drake.
Whoops.
Caligos is like, I'm helping.
He can't like triangulate on your position when you're on a dragon for some reason.
And also, if you fly down high speeds, it'll just freeze you midair.
Oh no, I'm falling. My drag
you know.
abilities are disabled.
Not today.
Oh, he got me.
That was too close, friend.
I'm immediately going to dob this man to Alexstrasza. Oh, she is going to know Caligos. She's going to know.
We're gonna immediately tell her.
I'm going to be little snitches. Actually, we're talking about not snitching last week with Abyssian eating Runen. You know what? We won't snitch on it. We're taking that back. We're not going to snitch on
Yeah,
you.
no, we would tell Caligos, we would torture him with that, but we're not actually snitches. We would never do that.
No, of course not. We'll just hold it over him. Okay, here we are. Things all here. So again, this is what needed to be improved. You can talk to Wrathion, and Wrathion will talk about Sibelian, but Sibelian won't talk about Wrathion. He'll just talk about his wound and stuff like that. When you talk to Wrathion about Sibelian, it sort of undermines just the line before. The more and more I think about these quests, it does really feel like there's too many cooks in the kitchen. The writing is a little bit disjointed. It isn't the smoothest. It does feel like someone was told, could you please go write this? And then could you please go write this? And I know there's restriction within a company and there's time issues and there's things like that. But why is this next to this when we've just literally seen this? It genuinely feels like someone within Blizz didn't sit down and say, okay, I'm going to go over this with a fine-tooth comb and make sure quests and text box dialogue and things like that all flows together. It creates a nice, cohesive narrative. Instead, it feels like you got 6 different people to write 6 different things and then slapped them all together. And you're like, here you go, there's our main scenario quest. And unfortunately, it will show people who are better at characterization and narrative strengths, while the people who are less better at characterization, understanding already established characters, it will show their weaknesses, unfortunately, when you place them all together. It's not a collaborated book where there's different chapters and you clearly set out this as a different writer. This is supposed to be cohesive. And I feel that that is a major weakness that is really shining out in this campaign. That it isn't consistent in a sense of characters writing. It feels disjointed. And we are lore enjoyers. We want to see cohesiveness. We want to see characters grow. And to see a character grow, you need stable characterization. You need consistent characterization, which WoW has always struggled with. But what we were hoping with Dragonflight, we're like, come on, Dragonflight, come on. Let's do this. Turning over a new leaf. However, I think they're falling into bad habits. So rather than one person, or at least having one person at the end, once everyone's written their own parts, smoothing it out, getting the old sandpaper and smoothing the rough parts out and being like, okay, to balance this part with this part, we need to do this, or we need to change this dialogue. It takes a lot of work. It's a bit of hard effort. Like I said, we don't know what the resources are for Blizzard. We don't know the time scheduling. We don't know this. We don't know that. However, I would hope that you do have a person, once parts of a whole are created, that there is someone to go back and check the consistency of the entire product once the parts are in place together. It's like putting a car together. You put a car together, you don't want one wheel bigger than the other wheel. I mean, I don't know. Usually it'd be a copy editor or an editor that would go back, and not too sure whether those terms apply to video games. I don't feel like you could rely on Q&A to create a consistent characterization within characters. Q&A have enough on their plate as it is all I gotta say. I think this would fall to a specialized role within the writing team. The final check, final edits, providing the proof, essentially, the proof checker. You know, you've created this, so now you need to go back and make sure it's a maintained consistency, or else your players won't have an experience which is a solidly designed experience. It will be janky. Writing jank, where some bits are amazing and then some bits leave even people who are uninterested in these characters scratching their heads. What's up with them? Why are you acting like this? What is your problem?
So the thing that I noticed that stood out the most to me about consistency through chapters 1 and 3 was the narrative literally loses track of Wrathion in the middle of the chunk where he's technically, quote unquote, looking for Aberrus. There's a conversation in Loamm between him, Obsidian, and Sibelian where he says, oh, I'm going to go out and look for Aberrus. And so he goes, and you think that's what he's doing, but then you go out and do this quest with Obsidian where you get the key from Neltharion's vault where he stored the key to Aberrus.
Oh, and yeah, Obsidian
she crushed the power glove. So you come back from that, and Wrathion is just there talking to Sibelian, and there's no indication. He's not like, hey, I found Aberrus. He's just there, and they're just talking. And then you have that cutscene where Obsidian chews him and Sibelian out, and then he kind of walks off and disappears again. Obsidian and Sibelian have that line where they're like, oh, I think we should just, the two of us, handle this, indicating that they don't want Wrathion to come along with them. But it's not clear if he's in Loamm or if he's still out. It's just like, where is he? What is he doing? Did he find Aberrus? They don't explicitly say that.
I actually think that they had more dialogue in there, and I don't want to like doomsay here. It does feel like that dialogue was going to be Wrathion being more aggressive, you know, out of characterly brash. I think they may have cut it and forgotten to take that implication out the line there. There's a very weird absence of Wrathion. If the writers aren't a fan of his character, it's okay, but just don't try and include him where you can clearly tell when he's not wanted. Just say Wrathion is looking for Aberrus, right? If you wanted to really work on Sibelian and Obsidian's stories for this plotline, just have Wrathion off to the side looking for Aberrus, and maybe just note that because he's such maybe a loner and he doesn't work well with others other than his black talent, he probably wouldn't be good at leading things because he likes to keep things quite secretive or something along those lines. Again, I don't think this campaign has done anything for Wrathion's character, but these chapters coming up are a bit less egregious. They're actually pretty all right with Wrathion.
From my memory of the PTR, I don't think that there's anything that I got really upset at from this point onward. Yeah, with regards to oh my god, Wrathion's writing.
Wrathion. We need to do the English way. Wrathion. I have to pronounce Wrath correctly, so Wrath.
I did so much practice last week for the recording that we did, and I didn't do any this week. I'm paying for that right now. I can't remember how to pronounce Wrathion's name. This is going to be a disaster.
emphasis on the w noise. So we say Wrath.
Wrathion.
Yeah, Wrathion. But yeah, these quests leading up though are a lot less egregious. Some bits are, yeah, that's pretty good, but there's nothing that makes me go, holy shit, that was such a good character moment. And I think that is the main trouble with this campaign. There's not been any bits in it, unfortunately. Other than that chapter 3, every other part of these chapters has made me go, okay, that certainly was something. It's never been a bit where I've been cheering for these characters, and that's really sad. And I think that is the major issue. And I just worry that the writers went into this not really majorly caring about these characters. Like, they kind of want to get them out the way. They're just like, yeah, okay, the fans like them, so I guess we'll fucking write something. It does feel like that, which is the really sad bit. You know, as a player, it does feel like the writers are just like... Fine.
I guess we'll write something for Wrathion. I guess he'll do a thing if we have to.
Weren't you lot happy with just the short story that we had published before?
Honestly, I was very happy. If they just published that short story and left it at that, I think I would be a little less irritated right now.
I have a lot of complaints still with the short story, you know me, and that's mostly in regards to the depiction of Wrathion on certain things that kind of raise my eyebrows about the drinking and stuff like that.
I think we have different opinions on the drinking, because I didn't really mind that. I actually like that as a character flaw, but I know you don't. And okay, so I would become uncomfortable if that became like a running joke or something like that for him in the game, like another thing that they took a dig at for him. But I think why are you making that noise? Don't tell me. I really don't want to know.
I'm not going to tell you.
Okay, why do you not like the drinking in the Vow Eternal? What is your point of view on that?
Well, I'm just going to cover this quickly. This would be very different if they had a very, very wide group of characters of colour within the story, and they had a wide variety of characters of colour in their story for a long time. I wouldn't be making these complaints. Like, straight up, that is my preface. I would not be making these complaints. However, there are very, 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 very few characters of colour. Historically, there's some certain stereotypes, tropes, things like that you sometimes need to be very, very aware of how you're handling. Again, I'm prefacing this with, if there was more characters of colour, you could provide a much greater variety of tropes into these characters and touch on a lot more topics and things like that. The thing is that there is a historical issue in regards to stereotypes about characters of colour having depictions of addiction in regards to alcohol. And the thing is that is okay. Like, you were looking at even like a chunk of humanity or a chunk of people where they have a varying amount of different backgrounds and sources and things that are negatively impacting their lives and positively impacting their lives. That is fine. The trouble is they have so few characters of colour that when they assign negative traits, they need to be really, really cautious of what negative traits are assigning. And I don't think that saying Wrathion, a character of colour, he's a drunk, is really a good point of view. This isn't even just like, let's just say, in my own personal writing, in my fanfic, that is fine. I'm actually going to also say that is a-okay. Because the thing is that with fanfic, it's quite a personal story, and it's also not a story that is being pumped out to a very large consumer base.
You're writing a short story for yourself and like maybe two other people who are really into the highly specific thing that you're writing about. You're not writing stuff for an MMO RPG that's going to be consumed by millions of people.
Exactly. It's very, very contained. Your impact and your effect isn't going to have any impact on the players who play this game. My golden rule, would you write this for Jaina? Would you write this for Anduin? Would you write this for the characters who are depicted as white within your game? Would you make Kalagos a drunk? Would you make Anduin a drunk? Would you make Jaina a drunk? Would you make them alcoholics?
They did give Anduin not like a drinking problem, but they did have him drink in Shadows Rising. Well,
yeah, that's the difference. He was drinking because he was sad one time rather than implying a consistent drinking problem.
It implied that this was something he did, quote unquote, consistently, but not that consistently for a king. Not it was whenever he could grab the spare time.
Have a moment to relax. He was sad, but it had a positive connotation. It was like, this is is my small amount of freedom, right? But on Wrathion's depiction, it was like, came in
Bottles
and
and
he's like always
bottles.
worried about him. Oh, he's worried, and it's bottles and bottles. Oh my God. The depiction matters. The context matters. Being aware of the very limited amount of characters of color within WoW matters. And again, I go by that golden rule. Would they make their pet favorite characters do this? I'd say no, they would not. Caligos, who's currently, we can feel is like pretty popular with the devs. You can see that his sadness is intrinsically placed as noble. Like, it's sad because the blue dragonfly has suffered so much and, he needs to be treated with respect. We have a few jokes about the suit, but it's not insulting Caligos' character. It's not laughing at Caligos, it's laughing alongside Caligos, because it's like, haha, it's funny that Caligos eats soup. There's a very, very big divide between that sort of depiction. I mean, it's like, what are Caligos' vices?
I can't think of any. I'm trying to, and I cannot think of a single one. What vices does Caligos have? This is going to bother me for the rest of the night.
Yeah. What vices does Anduin have?
God, okay, this is a hard question because I do not think he has any. Seriously.
Even Jaina, who's murdered people, murdered elves.
She gets angry, which is the greatest sin you can have as a female in World of Warcraft. So,
jokingly putting that aside, what is Jaina's vices?
I can't think of that either. She was just really angry at the Horde for Theramore, which, understandable.
Now, if you say, what are Wrathion's vices to the writers? Oh, well, he drinks, he's vain, he's always focused on his appearance. You can name two things like he's an alcoholic now, ? And he's always focused on his appearance. So he's narcissistic.
Muck on my boots.
I've got muck in my boots. Disgusting.
Line has stayed with me and haunted me. Can I go off on a little tangent about this?
I've got muck in my boots.
First of all, I'm just going to take the game's word for it that there was a puddle of muddy water somewhere in that dry crystal cavern that was deep enough for the water to get inside Wrathion's knee-high boots while he was walking around. Issue 2 is that there's a line where Wrathion says to Honeypelt, oh, I'm quite the experienced outdoorsman. It's like a point of pride for him. And we have no reason to think he's lying because he successfully manages to field dress her game for her and carry it back to Loamm. So I'm just going to give Blizzard the grace that that line was also not a joke. And Wrathion does have hunting and wilderness survival skills, which I think he would have because, again, he was raised as a rogue. He spent a lot of time on the run. He spends a lot of time in the outdoors. And you know what? When you spend time in the outdoors, your shoes get dirty. It just happens. It's not something you think twice about. So I just refuse to believe that Wrathion would be that put off by getting gunk on his shoes.
Muck in my boots.
Because this is probably something he encounters all the time. This man was camping. He was on the run between war crimes and BFA. He camps.
I've got muck in my boots.
Exactly. And that's when it comes down to, and I'm going to repeat it again, there's too many people writing this. There's not a consistency. One person thinks it's funny to mock Wrathion. One person isn't interested in Wrathion. You can tell no one's thinking about his character.
It's like they're making fun of him, but they can't even bother to be consistent about the ways in which they're making fun of him. It's like, okay, is he some kind of spoiled person who lives in the lap of luxury and just needs people to compliment him all the time? Or is he this really evil person who's done all of these bad things and had to rough it and had all these rough experiences? Make up your minds. Just pick something. If you could at least be consistent, I would have some respect for this because it would be like, okay, there is a vision here that was carried through. I do not like it and don't agree with it, but at least thought was put into it. But this is just chaos. It's just chaos. Okay, all right, I'm done. That was my rant. That cutscene in particular, every time I think of it, I'm just like, oh, muck on my boots.
Disgusting.
Anyway, and then continuing on with the short story, there's a couple of other things too. Not so much complaints, it just sort of made me raise an eyebrow. And this is even coming through as a personal opinion that isn't necessarily bad. And maybe they will resolve it. The odd sort of feeling with that story, that short story, is that historically one can feel very connected to your land. I mean, I should know. I'm here in Australia, Aboriginal Australians, land rights, Mabo, Tasmanian Dams case, etc., all very poignant things. And people traditionally have a very strong tie to their land and your feeling of being connected to one's land. That's really important, right? However, on the flip side, if you're telling a story of the only place where you'll feel accepted is going back to this land and that is it, right? It tells a little bit of a odd narrative. If you look at Wrathion as a kind of a stranger to his own home, he isn't very draconic. He's been raised by mortals. He's lived that sort of lifestyle, being removed from draconic culture because he hasn't had that chance. He thought that he was never going to get that chance to become a black dragon. And then being like, well, all your problems will be solved and your homesickness will be solved by just going back to your land. And that's the other thing too, being like there's an inherent Titan pull to the Dragon Isles, which is ominous in itself because first of all, that is brainwashing, by the way. If it manipulates your behavior to do something, that is brainwashing. So it is Titan brainwashing in a sense. And then also the cultural issue of saying that is your home no matter what. You can't find home anywhere else but that place. When Wrathion has found home with other people, I don't know, it just feels a little bit, like I said, it's not anything egregious. It just makes me feel a little bit like, you know, inherently telling someone that that is your place, that is the only place for you, that is your home and you will be felt like family there. That isn't always what happens. Let's just take a real life example. If you're a migrant, if you're a second generation migrant, you could be born in a place and you can never feel at home in that place. Never. In your life, you will never feel at home. The people around you will never accept you. That is a feeling that a lot of people get in real life. It's actually a very well-known phenomenon. It's a very cultural thing too. Saying that that will all be solved if you return back to the country of your relatives, your ancestors, your family, a place of your ethnicity, that will just be magically resolved. That doesn't work either. It's a very complex thing, and I think that's what sort of made me go, it's a nice feeling to it, but to me personally, because like I've discussed before, I'm a second generation migrant and there is a disconnect often with places that you can be. You can spend your whole life feeling that you don't actually belong in the place because no one will ever really accept you as a part of that country. It's a very poignant feeling. So saying that there's just a natural land for you and you will find family here and you will be accepted is a little bit making me go,
I can definitely understand that for sure.
But on the flip side, the good things in that story is it really did show that Wrathion has a lot of patience because he was absolutely fucking set upon by Kurog with some absolutely fucking awful things. And it took him a little while to get mad. He was trying to ignore that shit for a good while.
Oh, and I know. It was so intense.
The most awful things said to him about his birth. And then only after being pushed and pushed and pushed did Wrathion get angry.
So the one thing that I kind of don't like about that short story is how aggressive Caligos is in his attempt to restrain Wrathion after he lets go of his temper and is acting aggressively towards Kurog in retaliation. I feel like Caligos's energy was kind of misdirected. If I was in Caligos's position, I would be angrier at Kurog than Wrathion. My concern would be to get this person who is humiliating and insulting and just being extremely degrading to this other person at the party. Am I making sense? I feel like I'm not making sense. The line about how Caligos put his hand on Wrathion's shoulder and was like, stop, or something like that. Wrathion was not in the wrong there. Kurog, what he said specifically was something like, oh, you're stitched together from the bodies of whelps. You can't erase the stench of what you are. Like, just really horrible stuff. Unacceptable. Yeah. So it just felt a little weird to me, but that was one of the only parts I think that made me go, I'm not sure if I like this.
It's like, no, Wrathion, you should calm down. Let's just say you're at a party with a friend and someone comes up and, well, not even a friend, just someone that you know generally, and they start saying rude shit to them. You don't say to your friend, hey, don't get angry. Again, oh, but in the Dragon Isles, you'll be accepted. It's like, really?
We have yet to see that play out, but okay, I will take the game's word for it that is coming at some point. Wrathion will find acceptance and family and home somewhere. Okay.
It's okay to say that not everyone will find home in what you consider the place of origin of that person. That is not diminishing any sort of comparison to real life things, because of course people's land in real life situations means a lot, especially if you have a cultural, traditional and total connection to that land. Not just Titan brain. Everyone in real life, do you feel Titan brainwashed?
Titan brainwashing.
Anyway, the overall feel of that story, unlike these quests, was positive. There was some good things. I do think I'm kind of nitpicking on some things there, but it's just my personal.
Yeah, no. I think they're valid nitpicks. I've moved on to the acceptance stage of grief in regards to all of this, so do not trust my opinion on anything, is what I'm saying. I do have to say that taking into consideration that very few quote unquote good heroic protagonist characters get flaws, that does make me pause for a minute, because I like that detail. I like complex characters with flaws. I like characters who struggle with things. I don't know if the WoW writers feel the same way. Would Anduin be the beloved, baby-faced, good king if he also had a drinking problem? Things like that? Or is he too precious to have...
is he too precious to have a drinking problem?
Yeah, I do have that kind of caveat in the back of my mind. Like, okay, I enjoy this, but...
It's the context of how this is being delivered. Like, for example, I said they've given Wrathion 3 distinct flaws. His short temper, his drinking problem, and his narcissism, like his appearance, his focus on his appearance. That's not good. And then you flip to Anduin, it's like, okay, so what are the negatives about Anduin?
I legit cannot think of a flaw that he has.
I feel like the writers would be like, well, he feels everything so intense. He feels really sad.
Not a flaw.
They're not flaws. Him feeling sad or him feeling like depressed because of the things around him are not flaws. Everything about Anduin, how he's been written, is so self-sacrificing. He's so sad. He's a good boy with, oh my God. Anduin isn't over drinking. Anduin doesn't have a temper problem. Anduin doesn't have a problem where he is a risk taker and aggressive about it. Like, that would be an interesting one. If Anduin started taking risks and he has an aggressive, violent reaction to people pointing that out, putting himself in danger, almost a form of self-harm. He doesn't show any signs of being particularly biased against any groups. He loves the Horde. He loves the Alliance. Every single race is...
He's a people pleaser. No. That could be a flaw, which would make him a terrible king, because he wants to try to appease everyone, so he doesn't take a stand on anything. I don't know. There's like a number of flaws you could give him, and they don't. Yeah. They won't. They refuse to.
People pleaser is definitely one, but even that could be skewed as, see, he's just trying to make everything so good for everyone. Oh my God, he's so selfless. Even with that, it can be skewed by the writers as something good, almost. So many characters need some more distinctive negative traits. Any of the Alliance characters, even Gen has been defanged from being a little racist, warmongering little fuzzball into, no, the Alliance, we must do the best by the Alliance. Anduin, my son, my only child. The distinctive choices to make these decisions, and like the drinking particularly strikes a chord with me with Wrathion, because like I said, I'm in law, and you know the disparity of people being imprisoned, right? It's not people who are white, it's people of colour, and it's usually on things like public disorderly behaviour and stuff, and it genuinely gets me very, very, very fucking upset, right? And then just blasé adding it to a character of colour, one of the embarrassingly few characters of colour, and for a long time the only character of colour in this game, and that is the trait that you assign to this character of colour when you know that in real life there is a societal issue about people from low socioeconomic areas and people who are people of colour having troubles with drinking issues, gambling, things that are addictive. So,
yeah, I 100% understand that.
That resonates very strongly with me because I see it on a day-to-day basis. I see that every single day with my work. So when people do it as a blasé, haha, funny character flaw in a video game...
And that's the thing, is that I'm always very suspicious of. I'm like, did they give Wrathion a drinking problem because they wanted to give him some depth and complexity? Or is this just another joke? Am I just stumbling into this naively?
Final Fantasy XIV does a very good job in going into very complex issues, so it is not an impossibility that an MMO may touch on these issues in a nuanced and in-depth way. But even Final Fantasy XIV had its limitations, right? There is limitations in regards to storytelling depth and complexity that you can have within a video game such as an MMO. Also, gay.
Yeah, I couldn't use it on Wrathion, so you get the rainbow power instead.
I get the rainbow powers. My gay ass gets the rainbow powers. Anyway, so yeah, I think that's what we want to just touch on. I can understand why you keep on saying I like this because it adds possible depth and complexity about what this character is struggling with. You're right. Does the writing within World of Warcraft?
I know. increasingly have the horrible sinking feeling that everything that I like that has depth and complexity is just a joke or a sign of evilness or God. I can't formulate words tonight. A negative. So I don't trust my judgment.
Anyway, but yes, it's a very complex thing, and I don't think it's a good thing to be like, we'll cover these complexities at the moment within WoW. I don't think at the moment there is that sort of ability to cover these topics in a good and nuanced way. Don't treat things like a joke. Don't do that. So anyway, we're going to talk to Obsidian now though, Sil, aren't we?
Yeah, I think we should get the show on the road.
Okay, so why is Aberrus so important? I don't know, it's just kind of sexy. It's evil and sexy. There we go. They're like, look, we need an evil and sexy hideout. We can just clear out all the experiments. The Black Dragonflight's attempts on creating a nice sort of getaway retreat. That's Aberrus. We're ready to talk. We're ready to see what's going on.
I am ready. I'm so excited to do these quests.
Okay, so Flight Master's report. Thank you, sir. We're a very big guy. I don't know how you ride on that poor little dragon. He'd be struggling. Yes, because dragons need bombs.
They do, apparently.
Yeah, they don't breathe fire. They don't breathe fucking Molotov cocktails straight onto you. So
clearly somebody set them up the bomb.
Oh my God, what level of memes are we getting to now?
I literally couldn't help myself. You can boot me from this group. Never talk to me again.
And we'll get out. I can have cheeseburger.
Yeah, why not? I can have cheeseburger. Let's just go back.
I'm on my bicycle.
Let's just do the time warp again while we're at it.
Yeah, we've got the whole bunch coming out here. So look through
Fires the missile.
My God. Also, I love how you're walking still. You're still in that mindset even after all of Dragonflight. You're like,
listen, I'm trying to savor the scenery. I got some
got
lovely lava vistas to look out over, and I want to take advantage of them. You want to know what other teeny tiny thing that I like? I like how Wrathion calls us friend. It's something.
Yeah, something. I was high-fiving. Yeah. Yeah. Also, you're walking there, so
I know. Okay, I'll get on my Drake. All right, I'll get on my Drake.
Please. I'm using my legs. I'm getting a workout.
I'm walking here.
I'm walking. God. Oh, I love blasting from a vehicle.
I do love blasting.
Bring. Yes, I know there's a dragon glyph there. Holy shit.
Hey, listen, there's a dragon glyph. Hey, listen.
You know what? Timely joke with Zelda coming out the other day. I didn't mind Breath of the Wild. Hear me out. But it's not my favorite Zelda game. I'm still waiting for a Zelda farming game, by the way. That would be amazing.
Stardew Valley Zelda edition.
In 3D, think about the horses if you just make it into a horse game.
Oh, that would be really nice, like a horse ranger game.
Yes. Oh, my dream game. But yeah, I didn't mind Breath of the Wild, by the way. Like I said, I had a good time with it. But it's not my favorite Zelda game.
I think it's definitely mine, but to be fair, I haven't played very many Zelda games. I think Breath of the Wild was probably my first one, honestly.
Oh my God. Like, don't get me wrong. I think it's an absolutely brilliant Zelda game. But as a small part of me, because the thing is, Majora's Mask was a formative part of my life.
I've heard really good things about Majora's Mask, and I've watched playthroughs on YouTube and stuff like that. I'm sad that this was not a part of my childhood growing up. I feel like it would have also been very formative on me.
It's very, very odd. It's a melancholy to that game.
It's so creepy, yeah. And with the moon just constantly being threatening, and it's so good.
You know what? I'm going to say something about game design here. This is totally going in our recording here. The moon is one bit, but I'll tell you what the real terrifying part of that game is you being Link, and there's a quest in there, Anju and Keferi, I think it is. Keferi. And also I'm going to try and find these flame tongs here, so we're sort of like missing them here. Do we have any Zandalari flame tongs in this location?
There's a Quali.
A Quali. Oh, we'll help out this guy.
For a fanfic, I had to research stuff about the Jarden, and it was only then that I found out that the Jarden underground are different than the Jarden above ground. So that's my nitpicky lore back to the day.
Damn. I need to get taught on Jarden lore here.
You need to get good. Get good, Sam. What are you even doing?
What the hell am I?
You don't know the distinction between the different Jarden tribes.
Oh, shaking my head. Anyway, so there's a quest in Majora's Mask where you help out who you think is a young boy, but he's actually he's a grown man who's been trapped in a child's body via a curse. right? And he's about to be married in 3 days. And his wife is like, well, his fiance is like, where is my husband? He's just gone. I've lost him. I'm absolutely like distraught by this. You have to help this lad who has been cursed get back both his wedding mask and also try and break the curse on him. Breaking the curse doesn't work, but you do get back the wedding mask. And the quest itself takes you up until the very, very last hour of the final day. It's a full 3-day quest. You have to do things at very specific times and get very specific items. And it's designed to take you just to that very last hour. And you reunite Andrew and Keferi in the last hour just before they're going to die by the moon falling on them. And they embrace each other. And the thing is that you have to watch them and know that you have to reverse time. And they will never know this again. The thing is, you can go do the whole quest again, but it will use up your 3 days. You can't keep on doing this. You need to let them never reunite it.
That's so sad. That's heartbreaking.
That is upsetting. That is the real horror of that game. Not a moon falling on you. It's the idea that time itself is your true enemy. And there is a chance that these people will never ever know this. They will continuously be stuck in this loop forever and ever and never finding out the truth about things. So it hits really, really, really hard in a sense of like brilliant storytelling. And I think a lot of Zelda games still sort of like peter out on the storytelling. Also,
I mean, how can you really follow that though, honestly? Majora's Mask. To be fair to the rest of the Zelda canon.
It's a high bar to set, honestly.
It is an extremely high bar to set.
Yeah, and I mean, it's along with the horror and the general things in that. There is the true horrors of Majora's Mask. The thing of that quest taking you to the very, very last hour of the final day and them just holding hands while, you know, that they know that they're going to die. And then you have to reset time and it's like it never happened. It's like, fuck me, man. I mean, how old was that? 11-year-old doing that? I was like, yeah, fuck me, man. Changing my brain chemistry. I was like, Jesus Christ,
right?
Horrible. This is amazing. That is good, agonizing storytelling. Just the implication, how everything flowed together so perfectly well. So anyway, brilliant stuff. Righty. Oh, also, do you want to know something? Like, actually, spoiler wise.
Well, like, what kind of spoiler?
Like for next patch, I'm guessing. Not next patch, but some sort of update.
Okay, sure. Yeah, go ahead.
It is Obsidian who becomes Aspect, by the way.
Okay. I mean, is that really a spoiler?
Yeah, exactly. So maybe a new model, hopefully. I got the icon looks really cool. It's more of a snubbier nose black dragon with a big nose ring and stuff. So I was like,
oh, that sounds really cool.
That'd be cool if he's implemented in game. Maybe put Wrathion's new model in too, which is more high def. But anyway, yeah, is that a spoiler though?
No.
It's been obvious maybe since like...
Who else are they going to make the black dragon aspect at this point? You know, Ember, she's not even a dragon, she's a Drakthir.
People are like, oh my god, but what if it's... I'm like, no, it isn't. Blizzard, look, the writing isn't that deep. It's going to be Abyssian. You got the reluctant, holier-than-thou character at the moment. Turned him into a bit of a, I know the best and I know the most and I've made all the correct decisions and I've not got mad. Of course it's going to be leader, and he doesn't want to be leader. So that's like an instantaneous pick for Blizzard. They're like, oh, can't wait to get another reluctant leader in here.
I didn't even think of that, but you're 100% right. Yeah, it's exactly like that thing that they've been doing where the character who doesn't want to lead is the best leader by the virtue of they do not want to be a leader. So, oh my god, no wonder why Wrathion isn't being even considered for aspect. He wants it too much.
We knew this. We knew this ages and ages ago.
It took me a bit. I got to admit, it wasn't really until I played the PTR.
You kind of knew. You'd been hopeful.
You know, maybe deep down in the back of my brain, but my heart was still gunning for it.
Like,
aspect in my heart, okay, even now.
Remember ages and ages and ages ago when I said it's odd that Abyssian isn't here for 10.0. I said, well, we got our new aspect, don't we? And you were like, oh, get out. And I was like,
oh man, yeah. Because he was
no,
absent for so long. He was not in the Vow Eternal, like at all. He didn't even have a cameo at the end of that short story when every single dragon on the planet showed up to answer the call of the Dragon Isles. He was in the Drakthir starting quest, but then he kind of like disappeared. He just wasn't in the 10.0 quest at all. So I don't know. I was still hopeful, and it's just been all downhill from there.
You know me.
You're smarter than I am. You've played this game for longer, so you know. I am the naive optimist here.
Look. You're working on what the story previously told you. They were setting him up to be Aspect back in BFA, 100% so. They were like, yeah, this guy is going to be Aspect one way or another. But you know, Blizzard, they like to have the character who's like the morally righteous character, trying to be the leader, essentially. And you know how that doesn't really apply in real life. It's usually the person who becomes the leader of groups and stuff like that. It's the person who's like, I want to do better. I'm not talking about politicians, though, here. I'm actually going to put my finger down. If there's anyone that I actually undoubtedly hate in real life, I hate politicians. Oh, God.
Also, with this is like, we're not using like the US presidential candidate. This is a fictional dragon who is going to be a leader of other fictional dragons in a fictional MMORPG. I want a good story. Like, I do not want to waste time doing this minute measurement of Wrathion and Sibelian and Abyssian's individual flaws. I do not want to have a scale weighed out before me where I am calculating to the gram how morally good or not good they are. I want a good story. I want characters that I like and find interesting. That is what I care about. I am not choosing who I would vote for the next president of my country, okay?
I talked about this donkeys ago. Remember when I said because they don't have the Alliance Horde faction divide in this expansion, they'll need another pedantically annoying divide where the players need to get riled up about what they want to choose. And I said the Black Dragon's going to be it. And I said it's also inappropriate. Blizzard, you've literally picked your only characters of color to be aggressive and attack each other and fight between each other. Oh, and you may go, oh, what about Syndra Ghost? She's fucking dead. She isn't going to go through character development. She's there to prop up Caligos. She'll, you know, teach Caligos all the ways, and Caligos is like, I'm so enlightened now. Oh my God. Anyway, and then the other character who is, I forget her name, with the Explorers League, right? She's a minor character. You got the 3 characters of color here, and well, 2 characters of color visibly, and Abyssian who is coded, all right? And they're the ones who are arguing. No one else in this expansion is arguing amongst themselves. Not the blue dragons, not the bronze dragons, not the red dragons, not the green dragons. It's the black dragonflight.
I cannot tell you how heartbroken I am that the black dragonflight is literally the only dragonflight that's gotten this really poorly told story about inter-faction conflict. Do you remember when before Dragonflight started, we were fantasizing about what kind of amazing found family type story we might get for the black dragonflight? Those were the halcyon days. I wish we could go back to that.
And that was the thing too. We knew that it needed a lot of conflict in that too. We were like, yeah, they won't, you know, this will probably happen and, you know, maybe they'll conflict over this. But this is just a bit inane.
Yeah, you can write conflict and sprinkle it with these heartwarming moments. That's not impossible to do.
Like
and they literally did that in chapter 3 with Sibelian and Abyssian.
I don't think enough of the writers at Blizzard are passionate about these characters, and it's pretty clear. They're probably like, no, we love these characters. Do you though? Do you though, my guys? I don't feel it. I'm not feeling the energy from these quests. You know what I feel like after every one of these quests I finish? I feel exhausted.
You know what? I was going to say the same thing. I feel exhausted.
Maybe the last chapter is going to be like a breath of fresh air, right? I mean, they said that about the raid and they said that about the cutscenes and stuff. The cutscenes have not delivered. The raid is not bad. It's pretty good in a sense of little tidbits, but I wouldn't be like, whoa, that really changed my mind on the narrative.
That doesn't surprise me. I am looking forward to the raid, but I do not expect there to be some kind of heartwarming character revelation to happen in between boss fights.
It's pretty good in a sense of like the usual raid storytelling, but it's not what they're saying that they would deliver. They were like, no, you have to wait till you see the raid that tells so much story. Yeah, no, I'm sorry. It doesn't.
I would say on the whole, the cutscenes have just compounded on what we've been seeing in the game itself and the quest text. I don't feel like the cutscenes delivered any kind of nuance or different view of the relationship between these 3 brothers. It just gave Abyssian another opportunity to speak down to his brothers, more opportunities for Wrathion and Sibelian to fight or show their animosity and immaturity. I'm thinking of their obsession with the power glove for some reason, like why they were so angry that Emberthal had destroyed it for some reason.
Because it's becoming the legendary, by the way. The glove.
Oh, the power glove? It is?
Yeah, it's not so much spoiler as it found.
I really don't care about that kind of spoiler. That's fine.
You're like, oh, I'm a Wrathion. I can use that. Forget all that shit. I get to use the power glove. I feel so bad. But yeah, that's basically it. I think it's more designated around Emberthal. A little bit of turn it from a bad glove to a good glove.
All right, that I can get behind. We will rebuild it.
Truly
Bigger,
making it
faster, stronger.
What is that fucking thing from Courage the Cowardly Dog, where the guy's like, hold on, I need my stomping boot, and he comes back with a huge boot. That's going to be the glove. It's like, all right, I'm going to need my power glove.
I'm going to need my stomping glove, my pounding glove.
Yeah, I remember distinctly in interviews, they were like, no, you need to wait till you see the cutscenes to see the real interactions between the brothers. So that was a lie. I do wish the devs wouldn't do stuff like that. They're like, no, it's totally amazing what you'll see in the cutscenes.
Abyssian actually acted exactly the way I expected him to act.
Yes. There was no extra dynamics between their relationship as brothers. There was nothing. Anyway, do you want to keep on going with these questies?
Let's do it. Let's move on with this. I do enjoy seeing the three of them flying around here, but
I do like this sort of stuff with them all in dragon form, having a talk. I like that. I actually like them being in dragon form too, as much as I like seeing them in their visages. Also, the voice actors, once again, good job, lads. Like,
absolutely killing it. Love it.
They're like, let's fucking hammer it up. Okay, cool. I like that. Undeniably so. Okay, let's fly.
All right, we're flying with Abyssian. I do love this. I also love that I think Abyssian is the only black dragon who's let us ride on his back too.
Well, Wrathion's is reserved.
Right,
and Sibelian may do a deathwing. He might roll mid-flight just to knock us off. A little bit of a cheeky dad joke, you know?
I wouldn't expect any less from him.
I'm so mad they didn't play into like a little bit of dad jokes with Sibelian.
I know, I wanted a little more of that from Sibelian. I just want jokes about whelps following him around and bothering him and him being so annoyed but just tolerating it.
I do think that is something that's missing. Something coming up I think is a bit too harsh, but anyway, we'll wait and see. Like, this chapter has been fine, by the way. All up until this, it's just like, yeah, okay, sure.
Abyssian's current dragon form looks really cool too. If he gets a new one, I think that'll be very exciting. I love the idea of his aspect form having his nose ring.
The icon was actually really nice. The artwork for it was really cool, so like that. Also, I love how the Slitherdrake sit very polite. Very polite. I look at this.
Do they have a polite little sitting pose?
Look at him. Look at how he's...
I'm not there yet. Abyssian's still flying me over to... Oh, I'm at the ledge now. Okay. Very polite. Oh my goodness.
Very polite sitting.
No, I need to savor this moment of Wrathion communing with the Slitherdrake, because this is like the one good moment he gets in this entire patch.
And again, I'm just going to say I'm really surprised with the lack of dialogue box text.
Oh, does he not have any right here?
No, he doesn't have anything new. Have a look. Just at the moment.
Oh yeah, he's just talking about Aberrus and Sibelian again.
Yeah. Again, not great in a sense of storytelling.
This box text though, okay, so every time he talks about becoming aspect or wanting to be aspect, we need to step away from the old ways, I must take the flight forward. It makes me so sad. I'm just like, Wrathion, no, you have to find something else. You're gonna be so disappointed by the end of the patch. He doesn't know that Obsidian is gonna be aspect.
What was he cooking? Does he know?
Wrathion, it's not gonna happen. You have to move on. You have to like pick up a hobby or something.
Oh my god. Wrathion's just gonna have to become a trophy wife. Oh god. Sibelian has his family, so that's nice. Sibelian will always look after his family and, you know, like be the iron fist of the Black Dragonflight. I mean, I'm so surprised though. There's just not been any sort of conversations with Wrathion and his distinctive love of Abyssian back in BFA. He loved him. He's his brother. He's like, I like this guy. He's fucking cool.
Wrathion just said his best line in this entire patch, which is, easy little one, we won't hurt you. I cannot thank whoever put that in this game enough for putting that in. It's so good.
I know, the only callback to BFA. The only callback to BFA.
Thank you so much. Okay, I'm done. Sorry.
I like this. I like them actually exploring stuff and trying to work things out. And that would work better with the arguments. If you give less arguments and more explosive arguments, right? When under extreme stress, that has more of an impact on your players. If they're working along together pretty well, people will be like, yeah, fuck yeah, this is really cool. I'm working with 3 black dragons, fuck yeah. And then they actually have a blowout argument. You're feeling like the really awkward person in the room. You'd be like, oh shit. Oh, this is really awkward. Don't fight. I don't want you to fight. You guys fighting. This is awful. But if they're fighting all the time, you're like, whatever, fucking they're fighting again. Who gives a shit? That is the response you get. if you save the arguments to be quite personal and aggressive, right? Like, well, this is your fault. This is because you hid away for 10,000 years. This is your fault because you hid out on Outlands. Wrathion, you haven't changed your outfit in 5 years, so shame on you. Fuck you. You care about fashion, you haven't changed your outfit in 5 years, fuck you. But with Wrathion, it's like, well, you've just been causing more chaos than it's worth. You're trying to scheme and plan and you fucked everything up. Fuck you. You have a good fuck you for each one of these characters, right? Like, fuck you for doing this. But they share the weight of blame, and the thing is that each one of them have been trying to change what they've been doing. Well, you could do Abyssinian's change what he wants to be doing. He's like, I actually want to be more of a leader role, and you can give that to Abyssinian. You could say that Abyssinian wants to lead. Abyssinian's like, I think actually I would be a good leader too, and actually have a moment from Wrathion saying, I actually trust Abyssinian to lead a lot more than Sibelian. Abyssinian would be a pretty good leader. Have that moment of like, you know, like
supporting his brother.
Yeah, Wrathion actually being like, look, I want to be Aspect, but Abyssinian's a pretty good leader and he's a good mediator. I'm going to give that to him. Have like a moment of Wrathion saying, I like this guy. Still have a bit of cheeky digs at each other, but I like Abyssinian. I think he's a pretty good leader too. I'm not going to deny that. Wrathion is honest in regards to those matters. He doesn't mince words. And while every character has a bit of a fuck you, what you've been doing, and you can have that, you can exaggerate that, even though in the greater scheme of things, Wrathion has been fucking working his ass off.
He honestly really has. I just don't think that is appreciated enough.
Well, you know, so like, oh my god, he personally undid Gul'dan's chains, and he personally made Garrosh open that portal to another time. Not Kaisromu.
Oh my god, the Wrathion WAD discourse.
Not that he was a teenager of roughly about 16 to 15 years of age.
What is this? Wrathion is responsible for every single bad thing that's happened in Warcraft since War Crimes.
Why didn't Anduin just let Garrosh get poisoned? Real shit. Pussy and ass and fucking out. All that Wrathion did was let Garrosh out of a flimsy steel cage. Throwing that all to the side, you have the possibilities for these characters have a blowout argument, and for you as a player to feel really awkward and upset having to listen to it. That's good. That'd be good if you feel awkward and upset. Like, no, fight, we've just been getting along so good. No, don't do this. You actually feel crap after hearing them fight. And then the characters themselves feel crap after a bit. If something else happens, they feel crap too. That's good. Not this constant arguing, because it just lessens it. It's like, who gives a shit? If they're constantly fighting, who gives a fuck? Because it's just another fight after another fight. Also, I'm tempting death here, so by almost falling off the cliff about 3 times. Anyway, it's the oversaturation. It's the death of 1,000 cuts with these lines. Anyway, I'm going to talk to Abyssinian again. Investigating the unknown. I want my Slitherdrake, man. Have we done these? Yeah, we've done all of them except kill the guy at the back here, so follow me. No, I think it's around this way to get up there.
You just told me to follow you into a dead end by a pool, by the way, just to rub that in your face.
Shut up!
You wasted your elephant too on that.
Oh, my tiny little ram.
You're so confident.
I was so mad. I was like, never mind me, everyone. Don't look at me.
It's okay. We got here.
Oh my gosh, that is so fucking funny.
I have full confidence in following you into Vortex Pinnacle, though. By the way, this changes nothing.
Okay. Oh.
Be careful.
See. Yeah.
These serpent creatures may prove useful if they can be made to serve the flight.
They are not creatures, Sibelian. They are our kin.
Aww.
They are my father's failed experiments, nothing more. Fodder for the battlefield.
How we were created does not define us. Or am I just fodder to you as well?
Yes. That is
Jesus Christ, Sibelian. Oh my god.
Are wrong.
That was really harsh.
Yeah, it's a bit
deny it as you might.
Again, a little bit. And then Abyssinian comes in and then like scolds.
Abyssinian isn't really all you have to say to that.
For it is too late.
No, he's
really?
like, well, yeah. Abyssinian's just like, hey, both of you are not right. And then also you come up to this. He's just like, yeah, just call Wrathion a non-person. Don't give a fuck. He doesn't tell Sibelian off after that. Sibelian's like, you're not even a living creature to me, Wrathion. You just fodder. And Abyssinian's like, Sibelian, you need to work together. Oh my god. And then watch his follow-up line when you get out the cutscene.
Sorry, portions of my brain are completely rewiring themselves right now. Okay, let me get this straight. Sibelian does not think of Wrathion as a person. That's where we're at right now.
Yeah.
This whole time.
Like the inconsistency of Sibelian just being a bit annoyed with Wrathion and thinking he's a bit of a fucking doofus. It's the whispers though, Sil. It's the whispers.
It's not the whispers. Oh my god. No, this is not. Listen, if you're gonna do something like that, you cannot just use the whispers as a blanket excuse to write characters however you want. There are rules to this. Well, I don't want to say that. If you're a writer, you can honestly write whatever you want, but I'm going to assume that the devs of World of Warcraft do not see the game as some kind of esoteric E.E. Cummings poem. We're trying to tell a relatively straightforward fantasy MMORPG story.
Come over here though. Come over here. Talk to Abyssian and look at the line that he says.
Oh my god. What is he going to say?
So it's not in his text.
Difficult situation. Yeah,
Well, hold on.
Abyssian, it really is. That's putting it lightly. Wounds and insecurities cannot be easily dismissed.
No,
Only
accept-
time and cooperation can soothe the sting born of long-standing rivalries. What?
No, that isn't even it. Accept the quest and look at the actual dialogue.
He's talking about Emberthal again. Oh my god.
I am not angry, champion. If anything, I feel sad.
Yeah, you and me both, Abyssian.
Heartbreaking to see Wrathion and Sibelian fighting like this.
What?
It's so bad. No one take this
Kidding
shit.
me?
No one smooth this out. You don't go from a cutscene with Sibelian turning to Wrathion saying you're not a person to me, you're just fodder. Even if he's saying it in anger, even if he doesn't, he doesn't mean it though. He's literally called Wrathion, I don't see you as a person because you were created. You're not a dragon, you're just a non-person to me. And the Abyssian says, it's so heartbreaking to see Wrathion and Sibelian fighting like this. They need to put aside their differences. Abyssian, stand up for fucking Wrathion. Sibelian just said that he's nothing because he was created. He wasn't born. That's fucked up. Abyssian. Get your shit together. You can't even stand up for the people in your flight. Oh my god, he'd make a perfect aspect. My god. Abyssian would never let this slide in BFA. He'd be like, fuck no. Wrathion's my brother. What the fuck, Sibelian?
To be fair, we didn't have much of Wrathion and Abyssian interacting in BFA. I just went over their dialogue, and I don't think there's any moment where Abyssian even thanks Wrathion or acknowledges him as his brother in return. So technically, oh my god, this can't be happening. So Sibelian just referred to Wrathion as cannon fodder, explicitly telling him that because of the way he was created, he is less than nothing to him, and he just sees him as, why am I searching for another word? Fodder to be used on the battlefield, does not see him as a person, sees him like a creature, basically, like he does the Slitherdrakes. And Abyssian just, I wish they wouldn't be fighting like this. Stand up for your brother. This is clearly a case where Sibelian is in the wrong here. Why are you not more upset at this? That's what I'm trying to wrap my head around, is like, okay, all of this is to service the plot point that Abyssian is going to be the next aspect. So his morals and his convictions and his thoughts and actions are all aligned to have him be the best person for this position. And this is how he treats a situation like that. That is so weak.
Abyssian is going to be leading all these black dragons, so he's okay with another black dragon saying to another black dragon, hey, you don't belong here. And Abyssian's like, hey guys, stop fighting. You're both right. Let's just say, in that cutscene, Abyssian went up to Sibelian and said, don't you ever talk to him like that again.
Yeah, that's, I feel like that's what he should say. Be like, okay, you crossed the line. You need to back down, stop this, or something like that.
We are all the black dragonflight here.
Right, exactly. Wrathion is a part of this flight. He is our kin. He deserves to be here as much as you do. That is what he should be saying, not that. God, I'm like scrolling up through this text. Two wings that must learn to fly or fail together before it is too late.
Tomatoes.
What kind of response is that?
Imagine someone coming up to you and you're like, you're a test tube baby in real life. And someone said, well, you're not a real human.
This is like exactly how Huron treated him in the Vow Eternal, and people weren't sticking up for him then. Oh man, that was the last thing I was holding on to, was the fact that Wrathion and Abyssian still had this relationship as good brothers, and that's just, it's non-existent now. Oh my god, I've been living a lie for 3 years. Abyssian, we were rooting for you. We were all rooting for you.
Fucking hell.
I'm like losing my mind right now. I don't know why this is the thing. But okay, so they wrote this. They wrote this. All of this writing is intended to
Endear us to Abyssian.
Endear us to Abyssian to support his bid for aspect, to kind of show him as this great leader and this compassionate individual who can embody the essence of the earth aspect. And he can't even stick up for his brother who literally saved his life and is the only reason why he can even be here on the Dragon Isles right now.
But still, Abyssian's nice though. He's a good boy. Aww.
I'm yelling at you because I love you. Okay, all right. I need to calm down.
I'm looking at my Slitherdrake to calm down. Thank you, art team.
I'm sorry. I'm going to stop being dramatic right now.
Again, I'm just going to put this out. I don't think the devs care about these characters. They just want to get them out of the way. Anyway, it's fucking terrible. You would be like, stop fighting, guys.
There's like a couple things that I need to reconfigure in my brain now. Up until this point, I've been seeing Civilian as just this very cranky, grumpy person who has a good heart deep down. That is honestly like what I've been thinking, is that when push comes to shove, if someone were to give Wrathion a hard time about the way he was created or insult him or try to embarrass him, like what happened at that party in the Vow Eternal, Civilian, he would go into rage mode. That would be his moment where he would put that aside and put the flight first and ultimately accept Wrathion as his brother and one of his kin. Yeah. This unity in the Black Dragonflight. We're all disjointed and we've all suffered and we've been through this horrible thing. We're trying to rebuild ourselves.
And I know that they're probably like, oh, we wanted like a moment where you're like, oh, no. But the thing is that doesn't even align. If Sibelian had been played off as like, Sibelian even know about Rathion's birth too.
Yeah, like how does Sibelian... Well, I mean, Wrathion did just tell him, so we can kind of extrapolate that maybe that was the moment. I tend to see the cutscenes as like very abbreviated versions of more complicated conversations that happen. So maybe that was the first time Sibelian found out. Although maybe it was common knowledge. In the Vow Eternal, it seemed like that was a rumor that had just... Well, not a rumor, but it had become common knowledge. It was something that people knew about Wrathion, and there was nothing he could do about it at that point. Yeah. So it's possible that Sibelian could have heard that from anyone, like any other dragon on the Dragon Isles. Just like, yeah, that was how Wrathion was made, from the red dragons or something like that.
Well, bits and bobs of all the dead black dragons too. Look, they can have that, but how Abyssian doesn't react isn't good. You can have
so
that
calm
really cool
about
line.
it.
This is the thing. You can keep that line if you make a response from Abyssian. If there is no response from Abyssian and you let that line sit, Wrathion should be he should be really fucking devastated, Wrathion. He shouldn't be like, oh, I'm fine, it's cool. Wrathion would be fucking devastated at the moment. Spend a moment with Wrathion. That is horrible. Calling a person a non-person, not to like, again, realign this with things in real life and things that are going on in real life at the moment. How one sees oneself in birth and how one lives their life is a very hot topic at the moment in regards to LGBT plus community things. There can be comparisons to someone calling you a non-human or less than human. That isn't good if no one sticks up for Wrathion and you also just show it as it was no big deal for Wrathion. You can have a line like that, have repercussions for Sibelian, or at least have Abyssian go to Wrathion and ask if he is okay.
At the very least.
This is what WoW writers often fall trap to. They'll have a really hard-hitting line, but have nothing to follow up, so it just floats in space. There is no repercussions for said line. There's no follow-up to said line. It's just that, see, didn't that pull on your heartstrings? Yeah, it was awful, but it was also awful writing because there's no follow-through. There's nothing. You just hit us with a line and gave us no ramifications, no repercussions, no follow-up in a character growth sort of sense. Like, your character can grow from this. A Sibelian can admit he's wrong. You know, Abyssian can be like, I didn't do anything to stand up for Wrathion. That makes me fucking terrible. Wrathion can be actually really fucking upset by this. There's just nothing. They're just like, oh, see, didn't that line pull at your heartstrings?
They even had Wrathion. What did he say? You are wrong. Okay, this goes back to my point where Wrathion does not stand his own against Sibelian in these fights. You are wrong? Like, what? Oh.
If I was Wrathion, I'd tell Sibelian to
I would use stronger language. That is, I think, what would be called for.
Go unalive yourself. There we go. That'll get past the censors. That line alone isn't bad. It's like, okay, so cool. So you want Sibelian to be like, okay, he's getting in a real foul mood and he wants to say that to Wrathion. Cool.
Even the fact that he would stoop that low if he was really angry is just very takes him to a different level than I had previously seen him at.
There's no follow through, and I think that's the upsetting thing. And also, do you want to come over this way, you?
Oh wait, I need to put my Slitherdrake on my bar so I can ride it and pretend to be happy. sorry. I'm just like very, I need to snap out of it.
See what you've done, WoW writers? Stills hope and optimism and smile. Gone. I'm laughing, but I'm mad.
You know what? I refuse to take that cutscene as canon. I don't know how I'm going to reconfigure Civilian in my brain, but Obsidian would not tolerate that. Oh my god, like what was it he said? I'm scrolling up to find it. Deny it as you might, he is your brother and you are his. Oh wow, Abyssian. Yeah, I'm sure that's going to change Civilian's opinion. You really told him. Way to go.
Civilian's like this. Just snoring.
I know, right? Wow, Abyssian, good job. You really solved that one. Way to go. Okay, gosh, our Slitherdrakes sure are cute. I love them so much. Danger noodles.
Do you know that their actual colours and stuff change better with each flight, by the way? That's one nice thing.
Oh, that is nice. I'm gonna enjoy that. We're
gonna enjoy one thing. Fucking thing here. Oh no! That guy just died! Oh, no, he's left. Dude, I could have resurrected you. Oh, that's so sad. Actually, that's really upsetting.
That is really upsetting.
We didn't help him. We didn't help him.
I know it doesn't help, but when I'm a priest, I still like giving buffs to random people who are out in the world. I know they probably don't care, but it's just like, it's one of my favorite things. I like helping people. It's one of the small joys.
So, my Drakthea buff, though. My Drakthea buff.
Oh, right. Yeah, sorry. I've been forgetting. I've been so focused on the story. All knowledge of how to play my class properly has flown right out the window. If we did a dungeon right now, we would probably all die.
I'm just going to say my piece. It is not good writing. No matter how much people may defend it, it is not great. That's my best way of putting it. Things that are not great, that. It was weak writing. We're playing through this and we can tell that the writers like Emberthor the most. And it shows. And you always talk about, don't tell us what we need to change or what you think we should do. What is your experience? Well, at the moment, my experience is very low on these quests. I'm having a bad time. I'm not having a good time. I'm having a bad time. I'm not enjoying this. I'm not enjoying these characters, how they're interacting.
If you want to make Sibelian that level of cruel and antagonistic, I feel like that needs to be framed in some way. Having that and then just having Abyssian be like, oh, you two are brothers, you know, you can resolve your conflicts. Love and peace. It's just so spineless. That's the only word I can come up with. It's weak and it's spineless.
A really funny thing people were saying, Abyssian's a centrist, which had me laughing very, very powerfully.
That is really funny because that's exactly what he is right now. Like, oh, both sides are being a little harsh. One side doesn't think the other is a person and the other got a little cranky during a wagon ride one time.
He's fence sitting. Abyssian isn't showing any sort of forthright behavior that you would expect from a leader.
He hasn't shown any even personal interest or empathy or familiarity with Wrathion, considering the fact that they have presumably been... Like, did they just not have a relationship after BFA? Did they just have that one line and then went their separate ways? Is that what happened?
I don't fucking know.
Yeah, who knows? Who knows? No one gave a thought to that.
And again, like this, oh, you need to go pat Wrathion's ego to make him work with you. You've made it clear that every single character in this game are like, oh, Wrathion, Caligos in BFA, the fucking Vow Eternal. No, they are not out for praising Wrathion. We don't even praise Wrathion. This is the joke. Literally just earlier in these quests, Wrathion's like, do you have any good, kind words for me? And he's dying for praise. We're not giving it. And Abyssian's like, yeah, he helps anyone who praises him. No one is, though. No one is. It's no one. I don't know who you're talking about. Real shit. Anyway, where are you, Sel? Have you gone like way ahead of me in quest?
No, I'm talking to Sibelian. I'm at the quest where Abyssian is trying to get
yes,
Sibelian.
I was waiting there. You can see more dialogue like, am I expecting a lecture? And Abyssian's like, no, nothing for you, Sibelian. You're perfect. I'd be like, yeah, actually. What was that shit that you said to Wrathion? Most that Wrathion said about Sibelian is he's a fucking doofus ass and he cried when like the Threshers got him. And then the Sibelian's like, yeah, I should call him a non-person for that. It's equality, Sel. It's equality. Thank you, Ariana Grande. Everyone picks on Wrathion and no one is accountable for their actions. It's equality. Yes. I'm absolutely crying though here. Every single player is on the Slitherdrake talking to Wrathion. There's like 4 people on the Slitherdrakes here all having a moment together. I'll wait for you here too, by the way.
I'm just listening to the dialogue between Abyssian and Sibelian. Traitors, both of you. Okay, a whisper to Sibelian. I do like the names of these quests. A whisper to a Sibelian is a very good, I don't know, I just like that. And appealing to the Black Prince, I can appreciate that. All right, I'm at that line. Our assault will not be successful without the stealth and cunning of Wrathion and his Black Talent agents. We must convince him to help us. Thankfully, I know in his heart he will not deny someone in need, especially if they flatter him. I already did a rant on this last weekend. I don't want to repeat myself too much. This line is just ridiculous because it just does not happen. That is not how he operates.
And like that, it's like, oh, Abyssian's right, annoyingly usually are. But he hasn't been, though. Back in BFA, Abyssian didn't really make many decisions in regards to that. The decisions around this haven't been really like, has Abyssian been correct or incorrect? Again, not right.
Okay, you want to know what I did earlier? So I was thinking about it and I was like, I can't think of a single time when Wrathion has been complimented in World of Warcraft, but I can think of plenty of times where he's been insulted. And I went back and I made a little list of times where he's been talked about in a derogatory manner by some character or another.
Hit us with it.
Okay. Cataclysm. In the Fangs of Our Father questline, there's Zazo, who says, between you and me, sometimes that little dragon kid creeps me out. Miss Pandaria. After Wrathion has eaten the heart of the Thunder King, Anduin says, what are you talking about? I don't trust you. And Wrathion admits, you are wise not to. There's probably more instances that I missed, but I haven't played it and I can't because the content has been removed from the game. So, war crimes. Jaina's first look at Wrathion, there's a line where she says that she's always felt maternal of Anduin and feels uneasy about his new friend, Wrathion, and that she's heard rumors that Wrathion might be a bad influence on him. This is Jaina thinking he's a bad influence and then other people spreading whatever that means, like whatever rumors about Wrathion are pointing her in that direction. It specifically said that some of the things Anduin reported Wrathion saying were concerning to her. And then when she looks at him, she describes him as looking dramatic and having an unusual outfit. And I just want to be like, Jaina, Anduin at this point is wearing this metallic gold tunic with pinstripe pants, and you are in a magenta stylized robe that bears your midriff. But Wrathion is the one who looks dramatic and unusual because he's wearing silks and baggy pants.
Calling it an unusual outfit, there's egregiousness with the design of it, like I said last time, Orientalism, with Wrathion's outfit. But I don't really like that wording choice. I totally forgot about that.
At least she didn't call his turban exotic.
Oh, one step away. Yeah.
Warlords of Draenor. You have Admiral Taylor's garrison log where Wrathion is described as a fugitive of the Alliance. There's this entry where Taylor calls him a son of a bitch. The bitch is removed, but that's what he says. He calls Wrathion a son of a bitch. Battle for Azeroth. The very first thing anyone ever says about Wrathion is Caligos, who says, while I am loath to mention him, I do know of someone who has been studying the old gods in order to better combat their insidious power. While I am loath to mention him, that is what Caligos says about Wrathion. And just to clarify, no one has to appeal to Wrathion to get him to help with Abyssian. You find out he's already had a contingency plan in place for if when Abyssian started to succumb to the Whispers, just because he considers Abyssian to be his brother. That's it. That's the only reason. So it's especially egregious that this line comes from Abyssian of all characters. And then you have the Visions of N'Zoth intro cinematic where Anduin punches him in the face and then spends the rest of the cinematic looking like he has something unpleasant under his nose as he's talking to Wrathion. Exploring Azeroth, Eastern Kingdoms. Wrathion's entire entry is, of course, written from Shaw's point of view. So it's all about how Wrathion is still suspicious and untrustworthy, and Shaw will be keeping an eye on him and is wary of him. He reluctantly gives Wrathion credit for helping to take down N'Zoth. That's like a footnote.
Sure thought I could do that. I just didn't want to.
The Vow Eternal. Wrathion goes to that party and he's concerned about being seen as a monster. There's that outburst with Kurog. He describes Wrathion as cobbled together out of pieces of corpses, says he will never remove the reek of what he is. And some people at the party are cheering at all of this and shouting in support of Kurog. After the incident has been resolved and Lorthamar has stepped in, people are still smirking at him like they find this all funny, and others are looking at him in loathing, and he overhears some murmurs of conversation saying ugly and cruel things about him, and he doesn't seem particularly surprised at all of this. He just seems to kind of accept it as a matter of course and then gracefully ducks out of the banquet. And then you have Dragonflight. We've been talking about this. Sibelian insults him constantly. You have dragons in Sibelian's flight calling him pompous prince. There's one instance that I found where Major Domo sort of gives Wrathion a compliment where he says that Wrathion fights like a much older dragon and the trials he must have faced have aged him beyond his years. But that's not said to Wrathion, it's said to the champion, so it's not like buttering him up. So
yeah.
That was a lot, but I just
No,
really
I want you
wanted to get the
no,
point
no,
across.
apologize.
This is not how
I want
Wrathion
you to
operates.
get that. It's just never ending with this character.
I just want to clarify that I
Yeah.
actually do love, from a story standpoint, that he is in conflict with so many people. I think that adds great character depth, and it's interesting to me that he has to struggle against this probably for the rest of his life. He's going to have to deal with this judgment and assumptions about his character because of what he did as a whelp for at least as long as like the Celestials and the aspects are alive, because they were present at Garrosh's trial and stuff like that. My favorite cutscene, I think, in this expansion so far has been the one where he shows up at Stormwind with the Drakthir, and he lands and is immediately swarmed by all of these Alliance soldiers when he's so confident. He's like, oh yeah, they know me here. And then Shaw shows up and he's just so cranky. I love that. I think that's good drama for him. I just wish it would play into the game more like that.
And
I don't
not be
want
treated as a joke.
Right,
Not be treated
exactly.
as a joke and a nasty joke at Wrathion. Play it off as this character is struggling. We should be cheering for this character when he does have a good moment, not when can we beat him in the face. We don't want that. We need this character as an underdog. Yeah, he's done bad things, but he was a kid. He's learned from that. Let's try and cheer him on a bit. Not, oh, we want him to keep on reliving all these points where we can humiliate him. And it's like, okay, so why don't we have all the bits where we can continuously call Sylvanas a bitch? Like, that'd be really fun. No, it would not be fun. And again, one of your WoW's embarrassingly few non-white characters. Don't do this to him. They need to get a fucking grip. I'm just going to reiterate this again. I'm not trying to be mean. I don't like being mean. I'm a little bit of a fucking bastard, but I'm not a person who enjoys continuously having to criticize. It gets tiring. It gets really, really tiring having to criticize all the time. I want to enjoy some things, but you can't keep on writing things like this. It's not good. It's not good. You're saying that you want to be thoughtful and you want to do more shit like the Centaurs. You want to do more things like the friggin' Walrus people. I keep on thinking the Tanuka. What are the little Walrus people called?
Tuskar?
Tuskar, thank you. You want to do good things for that, then give your main characters that amount of care and attention. This is the stuff that loses the trust of your player base. The people who can see this and understand that this isn't good writing. You're appealing to the people who want to hurt the character's colour. You're appealing to the people who are like, oh, enough with this narrative. We can just fucking get rid of that. I just want to have my PvP. You're appealing to those people. Don't appeal to them. And don't appeal to the other devs in your thing that may say, oh, this is funny. This is a joke, right? Stop. Think. Consider. Consider the circumstance. Look at your contextuality of the situation. Don't just be writing and expect people to laugh along with you for bad jokes or to belittle a character. Like you said, Sil, it's fun when there's conflict and there's fun when there's awful things happening to these characters. Like you said, morally great. He's more of a chaotic good character. He's the character who is the one that you may question the motives of. It's something that adds flavour to it, and it shouldn't be belittled or be treated as a joke character. And no other character gets this sort of belittling treatment. Like, I can literally not think of another single character. Illidan didn't even get all this. Illidan has certainly done a much more bad things than Wrathion in his years, but Illidan is treated with an almost sort of reverence.
Those cutscenes in Legion, I Am My Scars, he's definitely an anti-hero that people revere.
And he's done awful things. Illidan has done, seriously, it's war crimes time. Woohoo! It's for every single character in this game. Anyway, also, Sil, do you want to hop on?
I need to talk to Wrathion and trigger this dialogue. I'm sorry, I needed to get my thing out.
We've said our piece, and I said my piece this week on the old social media. I've made it very clear that there needs to be a sea change in regards to this character. You're not listening to essentially what people enjoy about this character, and you're listening to maybe people who have a less positive take on the character. So just saying, that less positive take only appeals to one group of people, and it isn't the people who are enjoying the narrative of your game. People who want to hurt and punish this character of colour. So just consider that. Just think about it. It's something to ruminate on.
All right, we're helping Embers.
Oh God, yeah.
Obsidian roped you into this hero.
Okay, so this little exchange between Wrathion and Sibelian, where Wrathion says, jokingly, I suppose Abyssian roped you into this hero's charge as well. I really liked that before. I thought it was kind of a fun little exchange between them. The animosity was kind of at a good level, but now it just seems darkly sad to me. After that, Wrathion is still trying to be amicable and jovial with this guy who doesn't see him as human.
Doesn't see him as a dread.
I take back every criticism I've had about about how Wrathion's been characterized in this expansion, because they apparently gave him the patience of a saint. No quibbles with that.
And also the very strange dialogue choices with this. I thought they were all wanting to go into Aberrus. Why are they surprised that...
It's like the whole patch was kind of building up to them finding Aberrus and breaching it. And now at the last minute, Sibelian and Wrathion are having cold feet about it. I get Wrathion's hesitation to go inside. I feel like that's kind of interesting that he's a little fearful of whatever he's going to find in there. Again, it doesn't feel cohesive.
Yeah,
Obsidian has to be the one to kind of pull them together.
It's like 15 different people are writing this.
Maybe.
So no one can agree on how Wrathion should be written. No one can agree on how Sibelian should be written. No one can agree on how Obsidian should be written. Anyway, we'll finish off these last quests because they're not egregious. And this was the funniest thing where the Draconoid's armor fell off, remember, Sil? Like the pants flew off.
I remember
There's
that.
one good thing in this patch. You beat up the Draconoids and the pants just fly the fuck off. Don't know what was up with that, but it was funny as hell. I hope it's still in there. I hope their armor does fly off. So yeah, we're getting up to just the end bit now. We've just got the last little bit to go. Good timing. We were trying to be expedient today, but we've got into rants again. Hop on, Sil. I'm gonna go find our last little chaos courses here.
Danger Noodle.
Danger Noodle time. Also, by the way, the Draconoid's armor does not fly off, and I'm really so upset right now.
Aw.
Look at him. His armor is not coming off. I want this man to be naked. If I don't see Draconoid dick in like 10 seconds, my day is ruined. I do not want to see this man indecently exposed here. Anyway, killing these guys, killing them. I think this is a nice quiet moment to say, I didn't like much in this. Again, like we were saying, the raid and the final chapter are gonna have to lift. My God. And like this line from Obsidian, I'm pleased to see us working as one. Finally. I hope this is a sign of a united
Wow, well, I'm
future.
glad one of us is happy to see all three of you working as one. I'm just not in the mood to deal with Sibelian right now. My mood has shifted entirely about him. Sibelian, no, how could you? How could you?
Anyway, I'm gonna put my real suggestion for Black Dragonflight aspect. Wrathion. Let's get Wrathion
You know
in
what?
here.
Yeah,
He's
Wrathion
friendly.
for president.
He stands up for stuff. He has good opinions about shit. He's a likable guy. He's into Dragonflight communication.
He's very knowledgeable about history.
He's very knowledgeable. He loves his flight. He wants his flight to be done well. He knows about the historical beefs between flights, knowing about the red Dragonflight and the black Dragonflight's issues here. Wrathion for aspect. But he's like, wow, that's wild. Oh, wow, he just came out of nowhere. That was really cool, wasn't it?
Good
Remove
for
him out again.
Wrathion.
Fuck it out. Also, there's a dragon rune around here. It keeps on going blingity, blingity. Bling. I'm like, yeah, okay, we're getting there. Also, the overall experience of the fights and stuff. These quests are okay. By the way, I've not had any issue with the length of these quests. We'll talk about one
it's
good
really cool fighting around Aberrus, and I like the approach to the Citadel.
Yeah, I thought there was going to be a little bit more in regards to seeing each area, maybe seeing some unusual things. The Slitherdrakes at least had an intro. I think they were the only one, other than obviously Alex Strauss being like, wow, you should learn to, like, a dragon wants to go with you and stuff, blah, blah, blah. Like I said, I like the one. Oh,
Let it go.
Oh, I have a cutscene.
There is no victory beyond that threshold. Only ruin.
No, you will not stop me. Aberrus is mine! I will heed his call!
Whisper.
Then you have made your choice.
We cannot let that zealot take control of the lab.
What are you looking at me for? Let's go!
Oh my god.
To pursue him.
Crying out loud.
Face justice.
Those two must face this without me. I hope.
He's screaming. You turn your mic off and screaming.
Okay, I did mute my mic for a second because I didn't trust myself not to
You're
yell.
like,
The way, Ember.
no one's like this cutscene, by the way. Everyone is incredibly fucking pure.
Sorry, my brain broke when I saw Wrathion yell. Oh my god. What are you looking at me for? Let's go! What was that? Oh my god. My brain is rebooting right now. Oh my god.
Hold on, I'm gonna do it from last video. Boo! Tomatoes! Again, the cutscenes have been shockers in this. So, I don't know, man. It's fucking...
I'm like
big
crying
fucking-
right now. When you said there were 2 cutscenes left, I was just like, oh, it's just gonna be like a couple of them.
you're
Like,
like,
whatever,
okay,
no
that's
big deal.
down.
And
I'm
I
like,
just
yeah,
feel like my entire universe has been shattered right now. I can't even.
Honestly, my eyebrows were up in my fucking, like, yeah.
Like
so
crying right now. There's like tears coming out of my eyes. I'm like laughing so hard. I can't. I'm in pain. I'm in so much pain.
I'm in agony right now. I'm experiencing physical agony from this
I
shit.
don't know why I'm just like in a mood this weekend, but that hurt my soul.
It honestly just had me kind of speechless. I want to scream, but I don't want to blow my mic out because that was just like, it was unenjoyably bad.
Oh, the cutscenes are going to add so much nuance and depth to the brothers' relationships, and there was so much subtle character development. Oh my god, I'm gonna cry. I'm literally gonna cry.
I mean, along with narrative oxygen, that was a fucking lie too. Jesus Christ. You know what this is like? Sylvanas level writing in Shadowlands.
Look, as unhappy as I am right now about Wrathion and other things, this is nowhere near as bad as what they did to Sylvanas, so that at least they didn't mess up a rape metaphor for Wrathion.
Oh, my god.
I just want to apologize because it's my fault we're here. I was the one who said that, we should play this. So I'm sorry. I take full responsibility for the fact that we're sitting here right now looking at this.
We're going to be here next week too.
No.
Fucking disaster.
I don't want to. I want to see it.
You will sit there so you'll play it.
No. Oh my god, there's still one more chapter to go.
Fucking hell. Love how they were like, you need to see the cutscenes. Like, the cutscenes will add so much to it.
Sam, I'm recording this. I'm going to have to look at that again while I edit.
No!
Let's go!
No! Oh my fucking god.
This is my hubris for making fun of the "what treasures have you brought me" line. I take it back. That wasn't that bad. This is bad. This was bad.
Yeah. And the thing is we can
Let's
take
go!
a small bit. Let's go! Fucking doing the Mario. Oh, fucking Jesus. My God. What happened?
I'm so sorry. I have literally nothing intelligent to say right now. There's just mush in my brain. This broke me. I was not prepared for this. This was supposed to be a nice, calming, easy conclusion to
Oh, no, that's for next week, so that nice, calming,
No.
easy
I don't want to see any more of
Are you
this.
ready? Are you ready?
No.
Are we going to get our pre-rendered cutscene? We'll touch on a bit of the story in Aberrus too. Actually, let's walk in there. Let's fucking walk into Aberrus.
Let's walk into Aberrus. I'm still looking forward to this raid. I liked what I've seen.
It's not...
God.
There's a little bit of narrative, but it doesn't actually do anything. You know what I mean?
It can't hurt me. Aberrus can't hurt me.
Aberrus can't hurt you. And the thing is, there's nothing egregious within Aberrus. We need to be a raid group. Hold on. Let's pop out.
All right, convert us. Let's do this. We're going to solo Aberrus right now. Just get this over with.
Yeah, easy game. Easy game. Let's go on. Aberrus.
Oh my god, this recording is going to be horrible because it's just going to be me screaming into a microphone and babbling for like a whole hour. Yeah, I will probably be cutting a lot.
Also, come on in.
Shore up our flanks. I don't want any surprises from the sundered flank.
Sibelian, something dark saps my strength within these halls.
Oh, this is a nice line.
Feel it.
I do.
Like I said, it doesn't add anything, you know what I mean? It's just Wrathion and Sibelian acting normal, which is good. You know, like
it does to me. I'm squeezing blood from the stone. Wrathion's acting calm and interested and calculating, and Sibelian is kind of like growling around and pacing. I like that contrast. I like that dynamic.
Yeah.
I'm going to appreciate that.
I do think they take a little bit of, again, the idiot ball, though. It's like, wow, father, and they don't immediately go, okay, kill this fucking fool when they see the shade of Neltharion. And they're like, oh my god, father. Abyssian always going on about, oh, they need to know about the evil legacy of Neltharion. Wrathion knows. Wrathion in BFA was like, fuck Neltharion and all of his legacy. I don't want anything to do with it. The Black Dragonflight will never suffer like that again. Never, ever. As long as I take breath in my fucking lungs, they will never suffer that. Fuck Neltharion, fuck his legacy, and fuck all that bullshit. And in this, it's like, oh my god, father.
Why is there a rat here on this table? How is that rat living in this abandoned laboratory? There are rats in the underground, apparently.
So I love how this regular ass rat can survive the blazing heats of this underground laboratory, like rats do.
I love him. He's clearly a trooper.
Oh, good on him. Die. Yes.
No. Why did you do that?
And so come over here. These innocent, bubbling refuses. Die! Die, the lot of you!
You can kill the blobs. I don't care about them. You can smush them.
Okay.
All right, what does Wrathion have to say? Aberrus, the Shadowed Crucible, echoes of the Earth Warder. I sense a dark presence somewhere within these halls, something strangely familiar. Perhaps it will reveal itself as we explore the many chambers of Aberrus. If you can find evidence of this looming evil, we may be able to gain easier access to the depths below.
It's the raid skip quest. Collect the items and you'll be able to skip to the last boss, essentially.
Okay.
Yeah,
Right.
for fun.
That was nice dialogue. He didn't say like...
For Bigger?
He wasn't like, are you ready to get real, champion? Things are about to go down. You're ready to get down with the sickness, champion.
Anyway, I made a very good God of War reference just then, if anyone can pick that up.
Oh, please tell it to me, because that went right over my head.
It was probably one of the worst parts of the writing in God of War, the most recent God of War, where you have a friend on the ship and the friend leaps off the ship and you think he's dead and he comes back later. It's like, for Birger, this guy that you've never met before, and it's like really heavily weighted, like, oh my God, everyone cared about Birger. You never talked to this guy before and everyone expects you to care about him, by the way, in the writing. They're like, Birger though? Birger sacrificed himself? It's like, who the fuck is Birger? I don't even know this guy. He literally leapt off the ship and that was fucking it. Never talked to him before. That's all he did. That is the level of writing here. It's Birger. We're being Birgered here. Anyway, why am I talking about God of War's writing? Most recent game?
No, good. It's distracting me from what is in front of my screen. What is on my screen right now? What just happened? It's distracting me from what just happened. It's a good tangent. I sincerely went into this patch with the best faith possible. I was very open, even after seeing all that stuff that I didn't like on the PTR. I genuinely try to go into this with an open mind, thinking, okay, whatever these cutscenes will bring, I'll give them a chance. Clearly, I haven't seen everything. I don't know the ending, stuff like that. I sincerely, genuinely started this like that. That's why I made an effort to not look at social media, not look at the cutscenes. I wanted to see everything in context, the way it was meant to be seen. And I just...
Let's go!
All that effort, and I'm really sitting here with my clown mask on. I have like 2 of them on right now. The one I put on last week hasn't come off. They're just gonna stack until this nightmare is over.
I think the best possible outcome for next week, if the last part of the story patch comes out next week, I mean, who knows? And they gave a release date for the last bit and then this bit, but not for the last chapter. I think the best possible outcome is just for Wrathion and Sibelian to be like, wow, you really led us good, Abyssian, and I don't want to be a part of Neltharion's power. Bye. Just make it short. Please don't drag it out. It's all I'm begging. Just be like, oh, good for them. They're, off and doing stuff. Yahoo! Wahee! Just let it go. Be like, yay, good for you, Abyssian. Yay!
All right, Abyssian, yeah, woo!
Wrathion's like, woo, good for you. I'll continue my adventures. And Sibelian's like, woo, good for you. I'll continue making sure my family is safe. And then just get him off the screen. I just can't take it.
I'm gonna be shoving Wrathion out the door at the end of this. Like, get out, get out, get out.
Us picking him up by the arms and the legs, and we're running out of there with him. So we're running out of there.
Tossing him into the next boat. Go, run for your life.
It's like the fucking IKEA ads. Start the car. We're running off with Wrathion. We're running off with Wrathion. We're just gonna throw him in the car and just kidnap him away from this plot. This is for your own good. We're sorry. Anyway, follow me. I want to turn in my Niffen items at least. My
I should probably do that too, right? There's more of this patch to play.
I think we'll just busy ourselves with just doing a bit of the raid. Like I said, having a nice time with the raid, getting our gear up to like this sort of high level again, and then just being like, calling it quits.
I'm still interested in hearing Wrathion's voice actor in the raid. I just want to see his model, and I just want to hear words coming from his mouth. That's where I'm at right now. Hi, Emberthal. How does it feel to
be the best written character in this patch? Hey girl.
I feel so bad because I do like Emberthal a lot.
I'm gonna take you for a magical mystery tour.
Maybe you should drive right now.
Dazed, bruised,
Sam, I'm seriously like a mess right now. I don't know what this recording is gonna sound like later, but I'm just like, I can't process all of this. This is supposed to be the easy part.
If the last chapter is next week, I'm going in with a devil may care attitude, as in like, I don't even want to say they can't make it any worse, right? Because I feel like a curse.
No, it literally cannot. They literally had Wrathion say, what are you waiting for? Stop looking at me. Let's go. The bar is underground now. It's burrowing its way into this cavern. I really am just stunned right now.
And it was very, very blasé. Like, they just want the story out of the way so they can get onto something else. And I can feel like the excitement because of the reveal the other day about the Bronze Flight. Like, there's a very different feeling. Like, the writers are excited about the Bronze Flight. Like, oh my God, we're going to be getting...
You know what? It's going to be nice to get to that path with the Bronze Flight and enjoy seeing a story written by people who are passionate about the characters they're writing for. I am really looking forward to that.
I feel like it'd be better with a flight that they're passionate about, and I think that might be, like you said, the Bronze Flight, and I think Blue Flight, very passionate about.
And the Blue Flight, the Blue Flight.
I think they're definitely the favourites here, and you'd probably say Alex Strasser. I actually think Alex Strasser's been a little bit, they don't really know what to do with her a little bit. I feel like it's like, oh, she's the enemy of the Incarnates. Okay. So not really sure where to go now, but I will say this. I'm not picking up that excitement nor enthusiasm with the Black Flight. It's pretty clear, like, we want to enjoy it. We want to enjoy this. We don't like being fucking sourpusses. We want to be enjoying this. We want to have a good time.
I am really disappointed in myself right now. I am the stereotypical raging gamer.
Oh,
I feel like I could flip my desk right now if I put my mind to it. Oh my God.
Hulking out. You're feeling it.
I'm hulking out.
I want to go customize my Slitherdrake.
Oh, yeah. Do I have customizations? Oh, I have swept horns.
The actual quest text, now I'm going to be really fair here. The quest text was, I feel, unoffensive in those quests. I feel like the cutscenes were the offensive things in this. The quest text let us down in regards to smoothing things. It felt very disjointed. Again, it felt like, now this is actually my realistic guess, about 4 different people wrote that just then. 2 people working on one chapter and 2 people working on the other. And the chapters, like I said, they didn't have enough character moments. And when they did have a character moment, they were kind of a little bit boring. You know what I mean? It was like, okay. And then when they wrote Wrathion and like the Sibelian thing, it was just like, oh, we're going to put in like this that will really get him in the heartstrings and it will get you really upset. Yeah, that's all well and good, but it needs to have a follow through. You can write the most upsetting things in the world. Shock value is one thing, right? But being able to carry through into creating a cohesive narrative dealing with said shock value is another matter altogether. It's a very specific ability within writing where Sibelian calls Wrathion a non-person. Wrathion has fallout from that. Wrathion is upset by that. And by the way, where's the whispers, Sel? Where's the whispers in this chapter? Everyone's acting weird because of the whispers, right?
It's just the whispers. That's why everyone is acting the way they are.
The whispers had no effect in this chapter whatsoever. The whispers had been forgotten about.
They didn't even mention that. When Emberthal was like, oh, you've made your choice. Well, Sarkarth was clearly under the influence of the whispers, so where is the compassion for him? He's clearly being influenced by some kind of...
oh God, power. Yeah, there's no... She's like, oh, stop this. And then he's like, no, the whispers. And she's like, well, I guess we're going to have to kill him then.
Yeah, in that cutscene where she destroys the power glove, he's like, he calls to us from Aberrus. That's clearly some kind of old god or whispery incantation that's affecting his mind there. Why isn't Wrathion at least like... and I keep going back to that cutscene when he and Sibelian first get into the cavern and Wrathion's like, do you hear that? Why does that not ring more of an alarm bell for him? He should immediately be on edge, alert, paranoid. He should know what that means. He shouldn't be squinting and looking into the cavern like, oh, what? Well, that's not weird. I think I heard something. Wrathion, you heard something. You know what this means. This is code red. Code red.
Code fucking red, everyone. Why doesn't then Wrathion have more of his vials to stop the old god corruption? Why don't they just administer that to Sarkarth?
I'm pretty sure everyone just forgot about that. I don't think that is on anyone's radar. It's been lost to the sands of time.
Yeah, it's just gone. Unimportant to the plot. Wrathion came up with something that helps out. That would have been a good narrative point. They actually administered the anti-corruption thing to Sarkarth, but it doesn't take a hold.
Yeah, if Wrathion was like, oh, we can still save him, don't give up on him or something like that. And maybe we still kill him at the end or like whatever, but having Wrathion take that stance or someone take that stance of, no, we can still save him. He's out of his mind right now. He's being influenced. Because that's the point, right? That's the whole point of reframing what happened to the Black Dragonflight as a tragedy, right? They were influenced by the old gods. It wasn't their fault. They were being manipulated and their mind was being corroded by the supernatural power, right? That was the point of all of this. Yeah. And we're just at the exact same spot where we have a villain who is a guy who succumbed to this insidious influence that is beyond his control. So frustrating.
So let's say you want to make it the whispers, But why was the Whispers never mentioned in these last few chapters?
I know, why did they just suddenly disappear? We're not talking about them at all.
No, I'd actually say playing that from start to finish all as one thing, that would be a weird, like, it's like the Whispers. What fucking Whispers? Like, no one's affected by the Whispers going up to Aberrus. No one's affected by the Whispers looking at the Slitherdrakes. It feels like two different writing teams, actually 4 different writing teams wrote that, and none of them were talking, and none of them could. Also, I realized I went past the Slitherdrake. Let's go to the design.
Oh, whoops, yeah, you have to customize your Slitherdrake. It just really feels like there's nothing cohesive about this storyline. Like, what story are you trying to tell? Is it a story about 3 brothers who are coming together despite their differences to overcome this obstacle and confront this horrible generational trauma that is hanging like a cloud over their family and their Dragonflight? Or is it a story about this Drakthir who has tragically succumbed to the very thing that poisoned the Black Dragonflight and ruined it in the past, and they need to do better and make sure that doesn't happen again in the future? Or like, what story are you telling? What is the point of this narrative? Don't just throw around buzzwords like legacy.
What is the story that you're trying to tell here? I genuinely don't know. Like, I know they'd be like, well, you have to be an idiot if you see it isn't the brothers coming together, but you haven't displayed that in the story. It's been so poorly done. It feels like different teams are writing this. The different teams have different levels of caring about the characters, right? It just feels disjointed. And so what was the intention of writing Wrathion like that? What was the intention of writing Sibelian like that? Okay, they're arguing, but yet you could cover that they were arguing in 10.0. Where is them working together? Where is their big moment where they work together? In the raid, there's a little bit, but it's not like massive. You know, it's not like, oh, that was so cool. No, there's nothing like that. It's just like, okay, yeah, they were working on different wings of the raid. Good for them. And then, you know, like, oh, we'll get the shade of Neltharion. I feel like the best word for all of this, and I feel like both of us would agree on this, it's disjointed. Disjointed, and it's just kind of pointless and disjointed.
I cannot imagine what kind of conclusion there could be waiting for us at the end of this raid that would make any of this have meaning. Just, yeah. Oh, we're killing the bad guy. Like, okay, bad guy got killed. Okay, yeah, Abyssian is aspect. He's the goodest boy, so Wrathion is not the goodest boy because he has a drinking problem, I guess. He's done things in the narrative and made mistakes in his life, so he can't be aspect.
How dare you do the things that we made you do in the narrative? How fucking dare you? How fucking dare you do these things that we wrote you doing? Fucking terrible.
How dare you have depth?
Unfucking believable. I just want this to be done with kind of quick. Please just let it be done with relatively fast so that we can just be like, okay, that was sorted, and we can just be like, yeah, okay, cool, that's done. Maybe they'll have better moments later in the expansion, because I think it's probably going to be like, this was Black and Blue Flight, next one will be Bronze and Green Flight maybe, and then the last patch will be all the flights coming together. I think probably the best outcome for Wrathion here would probably just to be like, okay, Wrathion, thank you for your work, you'll always have a home here, bye. You
Goodbye.
know, like, I honestly wouldn't mind that. I'd just be like, okay, yeah, just get up.
Please get him off this island.
Please. This has not been good for him. Like, holy shit. You can feel me. I'm in struggle streets, so I'm like,
we're both struggling right now.
I'm looking like sweating here. I'm like,
my palms are literally sweaty right now.
Palms sweating.
Mom's spaghetti on my
Mom's spaghetti. Mom's spaghetti. Also, where are you? So I can come bother you.
I'm just wandering aimlessly around Valdrak and enjoying my beautiful Slitherdrake because he's so cute. Look at those horns. Yes.
And look, no black toenails anymore.
Oh, he's so cute. Yeah. He's such a beautiful golden noodle.
Yes, this is for my Drakthir, by the way. I'm going to try and make this dragon into her actual dragon-esque form-ish.
Oh, that's such a good idea. I love that.
Yes. Well, she's supposed to be more of like the leafy sea dragon, but Noodle will do for now. Noodle will do. Close enough. Wrathion had a lot of characterization behind him. And yeah, okay, maybe the devs struggled, but they haven't done a good job. Unfortunately, they've not done a good job. I don't think that was done very well. I think it was very disjointed. Chapter 3.
Who was this character written for? I just don't understand.
Continuously belittling him only writes him to the people who hate him. I will say that, and it's not good. If this was supposed to be Abyssian's story, this could have been really good. Wrathion could have played a smaller role. Wrathion could actually have been a bit of Abyssian's support. He could have been like,
yeah, he could have been Abyssian's wingman.
It's okay to write Wrathion like this. He wants to be Aspect, and he's a little bit sour and bitter that these two other dragons are trying to get it. But use that BFA sort of thing and have Wrathion say, Abyssian actually did a really good job. And you know what? I'm proud of him. He's my brother. And I've always said that. And I think I made no better option than helping uncorrupt him back in the day. I was worried that I wasn't going to be able to save him, but I worked hard and I was able to save him. And you know what? He's really showing that all these years that he spent with the Tauren have made him a good mitigating leader. And then I have like a bit of Wrathion sort of, but although I would make an excellent leader too. Wouldn't you say so, champion? Like, he plays it off like a bit funny.
Yeah, he would be like, oh, well, you know, I could be the black dragon aspect, but I'm far too busy or something like that.
We know that's coming next bit.
But I'm talking about in like a good, sincere way. He sincerely deep down wants to support Abyssian and
he plays it off like, you know.
Yeah, he plays it off like that. He's just like, oh, well, you know, of course I would have been the aspect, but there are far more important matters that require my attention or something like that. I will do my best to help my brother shoulder this burden. I don't know, something like that. That would be fun.
Having a moment of real shit with Wrathion, but also have a moment of his playful sort of like, yeah, well, I could be asked, but I just don't want to. You know,
right.
Now that's a bit funny because we're laughing with him because we know that he kind of wanted to be aspect, but it's okay. And the thing is, he's proud of Abyssian. I'm gonna have a guess. Like I said, I'm still guessing for next week. He's gonna be like, wow, you were really right, Abyssian, and you know what? It really worked us working together. And then Wrathion's like, I really don't know what I need to do. I'm sort of lost in this world. And Abyssian will be like, don't worry, you'll always have a home here, Wrathion.
At this point, I don't even think they're gonna address Wrathion or what he's gonna do or whatever. I think it's just gonna be all about Abyssian ascending, you know, and Wrathion's just gonna be standing there and nodding or supporting him or something like that. I don't even think a thought is gonna be given to how he feels about this, what his new direction in life is gonna be. Like nothing that has been set up about his character has been carried into this expansion and this storyline. So my hopes are on the ground. I don't even think it's gonna even come up.
Well, we'll see. Hey, we'll see. I just hope that whatever the pre-rendered cutscene isn't totally fucking embarrassing, TM. So
he's gonna be doing a cartwheel in the next one.
Maybe they'll have a B plot with Wrathion. I think Wrathion will basically be out of it for the rest of the expansion after this.
I hope he is. I just hope they stop. This is really bad at this point.
Our concluding points here. There was a few lines that we didn't mind for Wrathion. The actual quest text is pretty unegregious, but unfortunately combined with the main offender were the cutscenes in this, which were bad and didn't play to Wrathion nor Sibelian nor Abyssian's characters. If the story that you're trying to tell is Abyssian is suited for this role, unfortunately a lot of people hate Abyssian now, which is really upsetting as someone who was a fan of the character. They say he has got no spine and he is just the usual horde pick of, you know, the noble savage race, Tauren.
That's the thing that also gets me too, is that it really does a disservice
with no faults, no flaws.
Flaws. It really does a disservice to Abyssian's character, having him not even being able to stand up for his brother in a situation where
and not even being judgmental. Like, he has no negative traits. He's not judgmental. He's not aggressive himself in any way. He's not sarcastic. He's not undermining. Imagine Wrathion and Sibelian coming together to point out Abyssian's undermining them, maybe, if they chose that in the quest. Or Abyssian becomes far too judgmental. He's like, you two need to act like, you know, my family on High Mountain. They're like, your family was fucking Tauren. Get a grip with dragons. No moments like that. Like, no pointing out Abyssian's, like, they did that one tiny thing in the last thing with Emberthal and Abyssian. But like, Wrathion and Sibelian really had no say in like pointing out they really cut out any sort of chance of flaws with Abyssian with this. They just made him like he's always right and he's always even and he's always listening to both sides. When you call a person a non-person, that isn't a side-taking thing. That's an awful thing. And there was no follow-up nor conclusion to that. It's just now in the breeze. Like, Wrathion's just okay with being called that. And then the follow-up on that, the actual overworld dialogue and text boxes made it even worse. They were very up and down. They were a very mixed bag. And I'd say more in the negative. Our experience has not been less than good.
Oh my God, Sam, I was looking forward to playing this with you like all day. I was so excited. I was like, oh, it's going to be so much fun. We're going to get the Slitherdrake. Did you know? Had you seen that cutscene before we started this?
Yes. Yes.
You just let me stumble into that bombshell.
What the fuck? Tried to strangle me.
And you knew that Wrathion was going to say, what are you looking at me for? Let's go. Oh my God. Okay.
I'm just at that point where, like I said, I want things to be good. but I often don't have hope that the writing team can do that. So when I see shit like that, it pisses me the fuck off. But I'm like, what else am I expecting? Am I hoping for the Centaur quest? No way. The main writing team does not have that nuance here.
I'm just thinking back to all the stuff I said last week about Wrathion's character and stuff like that. And it all feels so pointless right now because I don't know how to explain that Wrathion should not say things like, what are you looking at me for? Let's go. And then break into a full body sprint.
He's young, dumb, and full of so.
My brain is broken. I cannot.
Nah. You'll probably come back to this, like, sleep on it, and you'll come back to it.
I know, I'm going to have a sleep, and then I'm going to wake up. I'm going to be like, all right, like, whatever. Niffin time.
Whatever. What fucking ever, TM. Just another one on the fucking shit pile, honestly. And now, like I said, with data mining, they found other things again. Got people heated about it. It's actually outwardly racist again with Wrathion.
Is he coming up in the next patch?
No, it's time travel with the bronze strakes. Let that sink in for a second, going back through a couple of events that Wrathion's experienced.
We aren't going back to, like, war crimes, are we?
No, the other one.
The Thunder King?
The other egregious bit with Wrathion and a cutscene.
The BFA cutscene?
Yeah.
What? Are we, like, revisiting that moment or something?
It's actually bad because they had to use another character of color, not even in World of Warcraft, saying it was okay.
Like, so this black guy said it was okay
to punch Wrathion.
Okay, all right. So the bronze Dragonflight is going to take us back in time so we can relive the moment when Anduin punched Wrathion.
Is that what? Section. It's like a whole lot of time travel, like lots and lots.
Oh, all right. Okay, this nightmare isn't over.
I shouldn't be having to tell these grown-ass adults what is racist and what isn't racist and who they're appealing to with their fan base. When they do shit like this is like baby ass shit, like 101 fucking what not to do if one does not want to be outwardly
Hey everyone, it's Silvervin. So the sound you just heard was Sam's mic cutting out as her internet died mid-rant, and the next several minutes of this are me just sitting in silence, absorbing the news that the player character is probably going to be punching Wrathion in an upcoming patch involving time travel with the Bronze Flight. That comment about Bartender Bob saying it was okay, just wow, someone really let their slip show there, huh? When I was thinking about whether or not I wanted to play Dragonflight, I kind of sat down and I was like, seriously, what is the worst thing they could do with Wrathion? How bad could this really be? And I just gotta say, this game never fails to come up with new ways to dive below my abysmally low expectations. Well done, World of Warcraft.
To conclude, how are we feeling? So what was your did you enjoy that experience?
Okay, honestly, I feel like I've wasted my time. I don't understand why this character was written this way. I don't understand the point of the storyline for this Dragonflight. I don't recognize the aspects of the lore that I was drawn to about this Dragonflight in this story. I really liked Sibelian. I was really rooting for his character. I was very sold on him, and now I hate that what I like about all of these characters has to be contingent on me removing select parts of this game from my brain. I have to cut out chunks of this expansion for me to enjoy these characters. I don't feel like, with Wrathion especially, a cohesive narrative was planned for him or carried through for him from what was set up in BFA. He feels like a completely different character. I don't recognize this character. I don't understand why he was written this way, because it's not like they changed him and made him more enjoyable than he was. Everything they've changed about him has made him worse than what he was before. So I don't understand who this story, particularly with this character, is supposed to appeal to. I'm just very disappointed right now. I don't know. I don't even know what to say.
People hate this. Like, people genuinely hate this on social media. People are actually mad about it. I mean, people are like, oh, Wrathion, that's a little bit more like BFA in that last section we did just then. In a quest text dialogue box, mayhaps, but those cutscenes, oh, God. Like
yeah, for that little shining moment, that little isolated snippet, I feel like he was acting like the way he was in BFA. I did kind of recognize him.
Chapter 4. So I feel like Chapter 4 was the strongest for Wrathion, even with Sibelian tearing him a new one, saying he's a non-person and no one supporting him. That was probably the closest to Wrathion in BFA. And then the last chapter was just not good. It was just, yeah, whatever. They're attacking Aberrus. And cutscene.
You are two wings that need to fly together. Shut up, Abyssian.
Shut up.
Get out of here.
Get bent, Abyssian.
Get bent.
Fucking sling your fucking hook, honestly. And I feel like a lot of people's reactions after viewing all that story, no one likes any of these characters except Emberthal. I know they're like, well, we want to tell a story about these brothers learning to work together. You didn't tell that. You didn't tell that story.
At this point, I just see Emberthal as this, she's just unfortunately at the center of this cyclone of stuff I don't like. It's just the fact that Wrathion isn't sympathetic or nice to her or wants to help her. Sibelian too, the fact that Abyssian does. I really resent that her conflict and her story is being placed as priority, the most important thing. When I wanted to play this game because I was interested in hearing a story about the Black Dragonflight, and I'm playing a Drakthir. I love the Drakthir. And I feel like this...
It's just not good storytelling.
I mean, to be fair, what I liked originally, Wrathion's BFA story, was probably just like some kind of afterthought. I'm convinced it was just some kind of B-plot that was just kind of thrown in at the end of Battle for Azeroth, and it's just by happenstance. There's a word for it, like lightning in a bottle. Everything that I liked about Wrathion was just this rare lightning in a bottle that was just very ephemeral. I just have to accept that. Anyway, what are your closing thoughts? What is your takeaway? How do you feel right now?
Tomatoes! That's how I feel. I could go into it. Despite all my harsh words, I actually don't feel like anger. I just feel sad about how the writers wrote this.
Like Abyssian, we both feel sad.
I think they need to throw away this hang-up they have about Wrathion, because I know that they have it. It's all well and good in like, oh, laughing about it, but you're literally friggin' hamstringing yourself. And then you're going, why doesn't anyone like the writing? You are doing this to yourselves.
Why does no one like Wrathion going, wahoo? I cannot imagine why.
It's a mess. It's a mess. It's not good. Even the things that were supposed to be like, wow, hard hitting, were bad. There was no follow-up. It had no emotional effect on me other than me saying, wow, this writing's bad. It didn't have any effect to me in the narrative. I was just disbelief, basically. Disbelief about how it was cobbled together. And the trouble is what I can't really understand. And now they're like, haha, everyone likes treating Wrathion as right. You've not respected your own source material, nor have you respected the writing process in whatever fucking...
I don't know why they decided to base the entire Black Dragonflight plot around Emberthal and then not have her develop a relationship with any other character except Abyssian.
They wanted this to be Abyssian's story. Go easier on the other characters. Let Abyssian have the falls. Let Abyssian have the wins. But he's always there just managing and dictating and being judgmental, but not being called out for being judgmental of other characters. He doesn't push the story. He's dragged along by the story and then gives his unwanted opinion now and then. Make it his story. You want to tell a story about Abyssian? You make Abyssian do some dumb shit. You make Abyssian learn some shit. You make Abyssian have fucking good moments. That's what Chapter 3 had. But then it felt like Chapter 3 was the climax of this, and then it just went downhill again. The raid does not make up for this. It's pretty good in a sense of, yeah, that was an enjoyable bit of narrative as its own thing in a vacuum. But anyway, I've said my piece, so I've said my piece. And so to conclude, thank you everyone for listening, though. We'll be finishing this off next week. Still, are you ready?
You know, ask me that tomorrow.
You're actually wondering whether you want to do this last chapter.
No, I'm committed. I will see this through. I'm in too deep. We have to get to the end of this. I will be better next week. This destroyed my last shred of hope, so I will be stronger next weekend.
Anyway, everyone who's listened up to this point and heard our descent into madness once again.
I'm so sorry, everyone. I failed you. I really tried to be calm and the good cop, but I'm a mess right now.
Went into this with full hearts and hope. What little hope we had, shattered, decimated.
Pulling this back, I like my Slitherdrake. It's very cute. This is clearly the best dragon mount in the game.
Yeah, Slitherdrake. Yes.
And it's a win that it's the Black Dragonflight's mount, so there we go.
Yeah, win some, lose more than some.
We got to take the wins where we get them.
Yeah, we got to take the wins where we get them. Okay, thank you everyone, and thank you for listening in.
Yeah, thank you very much. And tune in next week, I guess.
The Hell Zone. Twilight Zone ending thing.
What are you looking at me for? Let's go! Disgusting.